Okay. I'm alive! We're here, we're back, we're alive. I'm alive. I definitely did not forget about the stream. Hee hee ha ha. It is Lore Tuesday. Okay, where did I stop? It was here. I don't know why I have Duolingo drops. I think it did that automatically. I don't like Duolingo. Everyone should not use Duolingo. They suck. They replaced their employees with AI. Oh yeah, the Eclipse Crane curse. Go for it. It's 3 minutes late. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. I think it was only like 1 minute late. Oh yeah, happy birthday, Mika! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Feliz cumpleaños a ti. Feliz cumpleaños a ti. Feliz cumpleaños, Mika. Feliz cumpleaños a ti. Learned that from my Spanish class in high school. Unk did not survive the great anomaly. Alright, I scrolled way too far. Whoopsie. Whoopsie whoopsie. Here we go. Datapod. We're reading Ross's thing first. Marcelo mention. Eleanor mention. Cam mention. My staff is so young. Y'all got the should we come up with like a curse for each of the crane rewards? Cause you got there's an eclipse. You got 3 Marcellos, that should mean something. Oh, I just realized you can't see the hold on. Maybe I do this? So you can actually see the eclipse one. The Marcello curse is being a narcissist. That's crazy. 4 Marcellos. That has to boost your ego. That's what it does. Alright, you got another like minute to get 2 more eclipses and then your character will be killed. It's the curse. Oh, Cypher. Cypher means that you're gonna get put in the time bubble. Or maybe be gay, I don't know. If you pull 3 phrases, you get to publicly execute a character of your choice. Alright, everyone in chat right now, drop if you could publicly execute any character on the SMP right now, who would it be? Go. Fuck you, Strawberry! I'm kidding. Hi, Strawberry. Sorry, I don't have my, the chat is like so fast now that I never see anything. Marcelo, Okal. Casimir again is crazy. Sunny, Okal, Ocean, myself. Who's killing Sunny? That's crazy. I would execute Marcelo to make Freya suffer? Insane. That's so mean. Who would do that? You monster. Let them live. Let my girl and my boyfriend's guy just live. I would execute me too. All the Inktober stuff is so cool. Oh, the strawberries! Oh, I gotta show this on the stream. Oh, that's so cute. Oh my gosh. The true answer is executing Solace. So true. 2 eclipses, that was close. Good try. Look at all the strawberries! They're so cute! Look at them! Ah! Don't do that. Just kidding. It's there for a reason. You can do that. I don't get scared. You can't do it right after the other. I don't get scared. I don't get scared. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. They're all so cute. Look at them. Ah! Okay. We're gonna go through lore sheets and then Lore Tuesday, I think. Move my water. Okay. From the 30th. I think we read this one already? Yeah, we read this one already. Yes. No? Yes. Yes, because... Did we read this? I don't remember. Welcome to the CC lore. Please enjoy. The OC lore. Sorry, not the CC lore. I was gonna say, is this CC? Oh my god. There's so many tabs. You can't see this, but there are so many tabs. Felix's OCs. OCs. Whoa! We're not reading anything with a slur in it. I'm sorry. Jesus. Mods, can you take care of that, please? Yeah, we did not read that. Yeah, holy shit. Okay, don't put slurs. Even if you can say the slur technically, like, please don't put slurs, because I can't read that, and I'm not putting that shit on Twitch, and it's not allowed in the server. Jeez, okay. We're gonna read the strawberry thing now. Mods, do your thing, please. Yeah, okay. Strawberry, blueberry, undeveloped. So, okay, wait, did the other strawberry die? Cause wait, I thought that, like, the strawberries, when they die, then, like, the new strawberries developed or whatever. I'm not straight. When did I say I was straight? When did I ever say I was straight? I don't say any slurs myself. I've had conversations with people about which phrases and words that I can reclaim, but I just don't, because I'm dating a man. I'm straight passing. I don't. Are there any slurs for non-binary people? But, like, I'm straight passing. I'm cis passing. Like, I'm not gonna, I'm white. I'm not gonna, I guess the derogatory term that I do use a lot is bitch, but I don't think anyone's really arguing that, like, bitch is like, whoa. Anyway, we're not going to talk about slurs anymore. Let's read this. This strawberry is not fully developed. We call her Blueberry to make things less confusing. Since Strawberry's in the pit and Mama Berry can't reach her, Blueberry doesn't have any memories of this current season. Oh, does Mama Berry think that Strawberry died? Mama Berry had to quickly release this girl. Because of her quick release, Mama Berry struggles to delete any bad memories. Mama Berry was not able to fully program Blueberry like the other Strawbs. Blueberry has no purpose. She doesn't even know Strawb is in the pit. She does feel like something is missing. Oh. Strawberry angst. Also, the only thing that I don't like about Strawberry characters is that their neck is like a line, like it's a little wire or something. It creeps me out. I don't know why. Um, it's like a little. I don't know why it gives me the heebie-jeebies. We got this, which I think is. Oh, here we go. Italian gremlin. Wait, you guys can't see it. Ah! Just a little Italian gremlin. Marcello mentioned? From America? Wait, what? Okay, wait. What's my character? Who's your character? Pilk? A couple years ago, a little guy by the name of Brandon Neo was walking on the side of the road and saw light brown milk on the side of the road and it had been Pilk. He drank unaware of what would happen. Just seconds later, he drank it and got addicted and started a cult by worshipping it like a god. There's a lot to go on here. There's a lot going on here. I will say, if you want to be from America, this is like 390 years in the future, almost 400 years in the future. Or like 370, whatever. It's 300 years in the future. And there's a lot of stuff that goes behind this. So if you want to be from America, there's a very, on Earth, if you want to be from Earth at all, or the like our solar system, it's a very different experience than what you may understand. What is Pilk? Is this a thing? Is it piss milk? Please don't tell me it's piss milk. I'm deleting this if it is. Pepsi milk. Oh, okay, good. I thought it was piss milk. I thought this was gonna be way different. Okay. Pepto-Bismol milk. I thought it was pink milk, like strawberry milk, maybe. No, a lot of Pilk enjoyers. Should I try it? Is this a thing? That's why it's brown. Oh. Anyway, just a technicality. If you want to be from the United States of America raw, it's a little different than what you may expect. Because Solace is out on the rim. Most of the people who are coming here are from the rim. If you're, I mean, Marcello is from Earth. He's from Italy. You can be from Earth. That's fine. Just you have a very different upbringing and reason probably for coming to Solace. Okay. Moving on. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna close this tab because that tab is open to spoilers. All right, Lore Tuesday. Here we go. Here we go, gang. We gotta scroll up to. Nope, this is too far. Too far. Here we go. Right here, Datapod. Content warning for cursing and drinking. Ask a lore helper if you're confused. Very true. There's a questions Q&A thing. There's the tickets. You can make a ticket. Here we go. Haha, hey, stop that. Cameron laughs as his hair is ruffled by a sniffer rubbing its snout in its face. Is this why you asked me if sniffers were canon? He scratches its neck, running his fingers through the coarse fur to soothe it. Sniffers are giant, but they're also quite gentle, and Cam enjoys taking care of them. It gives him something to do when he needs to take a step away from his work. You needed the spacing to be better. That's funny. On the rare occasion that he does so, anyways. Cam holds his palm open to the sniffer, full of torch flower seeds, and it gingerly laps them up. Working in their pen, tending to the gardens, or even riding them through the mountains with Goobert in these moments, it's easy for Cam to forget the world around him, for a little while. He can pretend that he doesn't have any responsibilities, a boatload of paperwork, and endless blueprints lying in his office, waiting to be used. Just for a moment, before he succumbs to the stress again, wow, I'm struggling today. And if he closes his eyes, that fleeting moment can last forever. Until his thoughts are interrupted by miscellaneous sounds of chaos. In this instance, it's waves crashing against the docks. Sighing, Cam gives the sniffer a final hearty pat on the back before exiting the pen, dropping the remaining seeds into a feeding trough as he leaves. The smell of moss and wet fur follows him as he exits, even after tearing off his coveralls and tossing them into a laundry bucket. Approaching the docks, his attention is turned to a boat he doesn't recognize. Two people step out of the dingy oak wood vessel. A woman with black and red hair pulled into a tight ponytail, and an orderly. I thought you said olderly. I was like, is that like you call him old? Orderly looking man wearing a long white coat, both human. Cam knows who they are, though he's never met them in person before. Lieutenant Commander Eleanor Keener and Captain Marcelo Virgil, two of the very few Earthlings residing on Solace. Marcelo grumbles as he steps out of the boat, wringing out the ends of his coat. Why did we have to take a boat? If you'd rather have swam than be my guest, Eleanor responds, elbowing him. Feel free to swim back home, actually. I'd love to see that. That's classic Eleanor and Marcelo banter. I love it. I would have gladly taken a jet ski or a kayak or literally anything other than a rotting wooden boat. Smirking, Eleanor finishes tying up the boat. All right then, next time I'll hook you up with a paper boat. As the two bicker, Cam approaches them with his hand outstretched. Wow, first Freya comes to see me personally, and now the head honchos of the Arcturus crew are at my doorstep. Didn't realize how popular I was. You aren't the popular one, Marcelo takes his hand first, cordially. Your friend Casimir, on the other hand. Eleanor shakes his hand next, quick but firm. That fucker won't stay dead, apparently. Someone's out there looking for him. Straight to the point, I see, Cam chuckles, leading the two towards headquarters. Why don't we go inside? You both look like you could use a drying off and perhaps something to drink. What's your poison? Got any booze? Eleanor chimes in. Playfully, Marcelo pushes her aside. I'll take whatever brandy you've got lying around, and Eleanor will have a glass of rubbing alcohol! Dude, this is great! This is insane! This is perfect! It's better than anything I've written between the two of them. Oh my god. The rubbing alcohol. The woman smiles, all teeth. On the rocks, please. This is great. This is fantastic. Cam leads them on a walk through the Lilac headquarters gardens, mossy and brimming with floral decor. Mostly lilac, appropriately, but also featuring hydrangea and allium blossoms. The sniffers continue to rummage around in their pens, crying out as Cam passes by. He gives them a little wave as the group continues through the courtyard. Put a prohibition on Solace, god dang it. Was this cave formation natural, or did you carve it out more to fit everything? Marcelo asks, observing the area. Glowberries hang from the ceiling, fireflies buzz through the air, and Goobert patrols the area, ever loyal. The cave's all natural, Cam answers, puffing out his chest as he walks. Though we did, of course, add some support structures to reduce the risk of a cave-in. We carved out spaces for our operating buildings to be constructed, but the cave itself is completely Freya-made. Marcelo smiles, and when he looks at Eleanor, she makes a face at him. Proud of his girl. He rolls his eyes, following Cam as he leads them into Lilac's HQ. So, you have no idea who would have sent this? Eleanor asks, clearly annoyed at the dead end in this investigation. Cameron sighs, setting down his glass of brandy. Not really, no. I would ask Casimir himself, but he's not here right now. Right, Marcelo interjects. I've been told that you can communicate with his spirit? That's the impression Freya gave me anyways. Communicate, yes, Cam confirms. But I can't summon him at will, necessarily. Typically, he appears whenever I call for him. Hell, he's usually attached to my hip, but he's been watching over Sunny for me as of late. I believe he's been exerting too much energy, so he hasn't been around as often as before. Wait, he knows where Sunny is? Eleanor asks, waving her hands. That means he knows where Okul is, yes? Nope. Cam pops the P sound, reaching for another sip of liquor. All he said was that they were out in a forest somewhere, which doesn't exactly help. With a huff, Eleanor downs the rest of her glass. Then why the hell is he even around still? Let's stay on track. Marcelo finishes his glass as well, holding it idly by the rim. If this message was intended for the Casimir we know, do you know of anybody that would want to contact him? Cam takes a moment to consider. Did Casimir have anyone left that would have wanted to contact him? He had always spoken of his family in the past tense, so Cam assumed they were taken by the Great Anomaly. But Casimir never said it outright. Hold on, I'm going to turn this music down. It's a little much. I'm going to also turn it down for myself. There we go. But Casimir never said it outright. I don't think the rubbing alcohol thing was serious. Whoever it is, they're probably bad news, Eleanor grumbles. That's what I'm worried about, Marcelo agrees. Considering Casimir was known to travel throughout space, specifically rim worlds, I would imagine There's no telling how many people he may have had connections with, and based off of his, well, entire demeanor, I'd wager he has more enemies out there than friends. Eleanor hisses, Rimworld traveler? That's rough. Well, Hinoki is a ways away from the nearest district, so I don't see Casimir having gotten very far without a ship. Bringing himself back to the present, Cam serves himself another drink, offering a refill to the others. Marcelo politely declines. Declines? Wow, that's a first. While Eleanor gladly pours herself a double, Cam answers with a question of his own. Was there any indication of how long it had been floating in space for? Eleanor shakes her head as she takes another sip. Not really, no. The pod's older than the ones built right before the Great Anomaly, but it's not ancient. Doesn't look like it's been in space that long either. Maybe a couple years max. She pauses, contemplating. The cipher, however, that's a different story. Only a couple years, huh? Cam leans back in his chair, resting a finger under his chin. Then it couldn't have been any of his family. Hinoki's population was decimated by the Great Anomaly, including his parents and siblings. He pauses for a moment to think. At least, that's what his journals imply. Marcelo raises an eyebrow. I've read the journal entries recovered from his bunker, and while he does mention a few names, any information about them is quite vague. You could interpret it like that, but there's no way to rule them out for sure. Unless he would say it himself, Eleanor chuckles, polishing off her drink. But he's fucked off somewhere in purgatory, I assume. Cam raises his glass. Cheers to that. He and Eleanor clink their glasses together. Her with her empty glass, I guess. But as for his family, he did talk a lot about them in his older journals. Older? Marcelo tilts his head. Casimir wasn't on Solace for very long, was he? Shaking his head, Cam rises and beckons for the others to follow. Casimir arrived during the start of the Fifth Era, actually. He leads them back to what must be a study / armory hybrid of sorts. Walls lined with bookshelves and armor stands alike, swords and axes of diamond and netherite hanging on the walls next to the expensive-looking oil paintings. He wrote journal entries nearly every day, Cam continues. I helped him proofread, since he used them as a way to practice his English. Reaching into a desk drawer, he pulls out a charred book, held together by nothing but hopes and dreams. The poor thing looked as if it might disintegrate if you so much as blew on it. What the hell happened to that thing? Eleanor questions, gesturing for Cam to hand it over. Suddenly, Marcelo makes a noise of realization. That's right, Casimir was that little fox man. He makes air quotes with his fingers, from the strawberry patch that wouldn't stop harassing Freya. Wait. Okay, I'm reading it as if this was all dialogue, sorry. That's right, Casimir was that little fox man. He makes air quotes with his fingers. From the strawberry patch that wouldn't stop harassing Freya. Apparently, he kept going on and on about how much he hated gods, deities, and the like. Not sure what his problem was. Cam makes a face at him. Apologies, don't mean to speak ill of the dead, but I'm correct, aren't I? Nodding, Cam gently hands the book over to Eleanor. That's where we first met, he elaborates, and where we became friends. Eleanor inspects the journal further, pointing at its singed cover. How the hell did this happen, though? I don't remember any strawberry patch getting nuked in the reports. I'm remembering now, Marcelo crosses his arms, thinking back. The patch was destroyed by Cypher's robotic army. Wait, really? It was? I thought it was Bond. Wasn't it one of the ones that was nuked? It was the FRI, the Strawberry Patch, and Frostfire, right? Because Cypher's army didn't... Cypher's robot army didn't reach past the, the edge of the border. People fought it off before then. Oh, is the wiki wrong? That's on Strawberry then, I guess. The Strawberry Patch was by Spawn. Yeah, the robots never made it near Spawn. Because, let me look at the wiki. Strawberry Patch. Oh, the faction was destroyed by... Yeah, this wasn't... I didn't write this. Let me edit it. By a missile sent by Cypher and Raju. Link these. There we go. Yeah, it's patrolled. Alright. Sorry about that. Anyway, that's not that bad. Oh, sorry about the Animal Crossing noises. I have that as my typing sound. Um, anyway, all it is that it got nuked. Whatever. Anyway, Cam is still for a moment, his expression difficult to read. His eyebrows furrow and his gaze drops to the floor. But after what felt like a long silence, though it couldn't have been more than a few seconds, he nods. Eleanor gapes as she opens the journal. Most of this is completely trashed. Marcelo looks over her shoulder, his eyes widening in turn as he takes in the amount of damage. The pages are almost entirely blackened, not to mention how horrible the handwriting was. If there was even any useful information in here, it'd take forever to decipher it. I think I'll take you up on another drink, actually, Marcelo sighs, pinching his brow. Wordlessly, Cameron reaches further into his desk, pulling out a visibly aged bottle. He leads the others out of the study and back to the lounge, where he promptly crashes into the couch, one hand clutching the bottle by the neck, the other rubbing his temples. I wish he were here. I wish he could just tell us, he mumbles to himself, eyes closed shut. After another awkward moment, he addresses the others. Feel free to take the journal with you. Just don't damage it for any further, please. I'll contact one of you if Casimir knows anything. If? Marcelo questions, causing Cam to look up at him with an exhausted expression. If his memories are intact next time. Eleanor tilts her head in confusion. He doesn't always appear as himself, Cam mutters as he pours yet another drink. Sometimes he's younger, like little kid younger, on worse days. It's something to do with how much energy he has left to form his appearance, and when he's younger, he usually doesn't retain all of his memories. Consistently, he knows who I am, but everything else about Solace and the Great Anomaly is fuzzy. Another constant is that he can't exactly recall the events of his death. The details are always jumbled up, and he hasn't ever been able to clearly describe what Eclipse looks like to me. Doesn't remember exactly how he got snatched, either. Marcelo's expression sours. So even if you can get him to appear, he may not have any straight answers for you? Exactly. Sitting up, Cam stares holes into his glass, like the 2 shots of whatever the hell's in that ancient bottle he pulled out was the cause of all of his problems. After a moment, he downs it, drowning his thoughts and steeling his nerves. Seems the 3 of them had a little more in common than their origins. I love it. That banter was crazy good. Like, that's absolutely canon. I am not doing any more. Literally just 3 letters took me over a day because my mind freaking sucks with writing right now. From Angel. Thoughts of a Lost Soul Part 2. Yeah, this is the best. Also, let me just remind you that Azrael Angel is bound to die and come back to life at least once in every universe. Therefore, it would be impossible for him to not have trauma, but I do have an AU where he didn't have any trauma and grew up to have a husband and kids. I just have to draw it. Content warnings. 1 mention of suicidal thoughts. Okay. Thoughts of a Lost Soul Part 2. Azrael, better known as Angel, had never been an outgoing person. He was always quiet, kept to himself, never spoke about his feelings. Though more recently, he's been feeling like it would be better off if he was dead. He can't fly, he can't just hang out with his brother and watch the sunrise and set with him anymore, at least not that he knows of. Azrael always wondered what it would have been different if the vanishing of life, the great anomaly, never happened. Would he be the king on Kiwan? Would Susu find a wife? Susu likes women? I didn't know that. He always wondered how different life could have been. He always thought that Loomis would never kill him and Susu like that. It angered him greatly. He was always worried about Onyx now, too, seeing the boy as a son. He noticed how the boy always flinched whenever someone slammed a door or dropped something that made a loud noise. He noticed how the boy had always avoided the topic of the war on his home planet, Etheria. Azrael thought it was PTSD, maybe. Azrael knew that Onyx fought in the war at just 11 years old. Damn. He wrote letters for Croy, daily, explaining how his day went, how much he hurt that day. Letter number 1. I miss you. I don't intend to give you these letters if we ever see each other again. I know about your new companion. From what I know about him, he seems nice. Seems like a good person. I'm glad you have people that you can take care of. I know you're used to taking care of people. I also know about Sunny. She seems like a good kid, too. I really miss you, you know? I couldn't be more proud of you, Croy. I honestly couldn't. You kept your promises to take care of them, and I'm so proud of you for that. My back hurts really badly today. There's not much I can do about it. I'm writing you these letters because I miss you, because I want to see you again, because I want to be with you again, because you're my brother. Urilla wasn't lying, you know? I know what he said to you, that he said I was proud of you. I am, I really am. Honestly, I don't want him to know I'm alive, but with him, you never know if he knows something or not. He might know I'm alive and he might not, but I miss you both. Besides Susu, you guys are the only ones I trust on this stupid planet. Maybe I'll get the courage to show myself again someday. No promises, though. Letter 2. Croy, come back. Come back to this stupid field. Just find out I'm alive for once. You know I'm alive. You found my stupid wings. I know you did. I'm not stupid. No one would just pick up a stupid pair of wings and take them with them. I've been in this field every single day, and you still haven't even come back to try and find me. I'm sorry. I just miss you. I don't like this. I feel so alone all the time. My kid found out about my wings. Oh, I see. It's because it thinks it's a link. He wants me to go to the hospital. I said no. I'm still afraid. Who knows what could happen? I don't even know anymore. I have a son now. Well, he isn't exactly my son. He's a kid. I took him in since his mom is really busy and doesn't have time to take care of him. His name is Onyx. He's a good kid. I'm happy I have some type of reason to stay alive on this planet. Only reason I haven't just given up on my life yet is because I know you're out there somewhere. And because I have a kid to take care of now. You'd make a great Uncle Tim Croy. Letter 3. Today, I miss you a lot more than usual. It was quite difficult today. Onyx is sick, I believe with that infection. I think he's the last one with it. Judging by his condition, he has at most a month left. Thankfully, he isn't that far progressed into the infection, but I think I know how to cure it. I'm not sure. I hope I can save him. I don't want to lose one of the only people I'm living for. Well, either way, now that the tree can't infect anyone else, IDU-T won't spread anymore. It was only spreading because Loomis was alive. Oh yeah, I don't think you ever knew about that. Loomis died of her own infection. Pretty funny, if you ask me. I know how much you hate her, so I'm sure you'll be happy about it. I miss you a lot, Croy. I hope we see each other again someday. Also, I think I saw your new companion. Kron, right? He looks like a good one. I hope you don't lose him like you lost me. Until we meet again, brother. Just realized I need to make sure that this is going to loop. Angel just never is happy. Always just full of drama. Nice to see you again. Who's this from? Waters. The drip of the IV. A quiet room bathed in the brightest shade of white. A waiting room in the lobby of the Keepers of Solace Hospital. The clicking of keyboard and the fizzing of fluorescent lights along the ceiling are the only sounds to keep Waters company as he sits in the uncomfortable chairs in this uncomfortable room. There are not many reasons that would ever see Waters entering the hospital. Visiting a familiar face is one of those reasons. Mira, the department head of the judicial branch. He is here not under a forced obligation to visit. He wants to be here and has questions, but the scenery is not pleasant to him. Lighter than the usual spaces he inhabits, and chillingly cold, with the distinct smell of antiseptic and familiarity of a time he doesn't fully remember. The longer he waits in this room, the more he wants to get up and leave, but that would be impolite, and he's already committed himself to this task. Waters raises a gloved hand and swipes it along the ridges of the tank at the front of his head, a movement very akin to a human rubbing their temples. Perhaps a reason beyond just the brightness of the interior scenery. He has been feeling sort of off lately. Not sick per se, but there's something wrong. A part of him dreads the idea of having to rely on any medical attention on this planet. His biology is highly different from the beings currently on Solace and complicated to explain, but also not something he ever wants to explain. There are many things about himself that he doesn't want anyone to know, and he's grown too used to the privacy of being a government-sanctioned nobody. Would that healing ability that Light has help in this situation? Not require anyone to delve too deep into his biological nature? He doesn't know. At this point, he just knows he doesn't want anyone to come near him with medical instruments, unless they are treating someone else. Waters? Truffle calls out to him, leaning their head out over the counter. Waters stands up quickly, welcoming the out. Am I reading this wrong? Welcoming the out to stretch his legs and escape the stifling environment building in his mind. Mira's ready for you. If you want to head back there now, do you need me to walk you to the intensive care unit? Truffle speaks, leaning back out the window to settle in their seat again. Waters tilts his head slightly, then looks down the hall to the hospital rooms. He's been here before, but the hospital has gone through some vast expansions. The intensive care unit was not present in the stretch he had been in before. From the sound of it, it seems like you probably should, but I believe I can find it on my own, thanks. Good luck with the rest of your shift. There's a subtle relief that Waters witnesses as Truffle nods and relaxes in their seat. It seems like a quiet day in the hospital to him, but that's just his perspective. A possibly understaffed hospital with multiple patients to check on? Yeah, perhaps he's lended them a break unintentionally. Waters turns and walks down the hallway without another word. None of the hospital rooms are even looked at as he goes. He can't imagine the intensive care rooms would be among the standard ones. That would be too confusing for staff and visitors alike. Eventually, he sees the office of Dr. Magos in front of, or Magos, is it Magos? Magos, in front of a set of stairs going up. With a second of consideration, he takes the stairs. He knows Magos. Well, as much as you can know somebody you staff, but never really end up running into. At times, it feels like he sees Magos. I think it's Magos. It's Magos. More often at the faction meetings than at work. But they're both busy people, working more than one job at different facilities. Truffle, Light, Magos. How have I ended up acquainted with most of the medical staff on Solace without ever going to the hospital? Footsteps stop at the glowing words of the intensive care unit before a set of doors, as well as the words of staff only, but he's been granted access, so that must not apply to him in this instance. He pushes open the door, letting it fall shut behind him, and, unsurprisingly, it's another bright white hallway. Waters walks down to the end of the short bit of hallway before the main space, keeping his gaze along the side wall as it is somehow less intense than the floor. Then he hears it, the beeping of medical equipment, the hum of their power sources, the subtle flow of fluids from IV stands, and the ruffling of pages on a book as they turn. Mira, it is good to see you again, he spoke, pushing the door open to her room and standing in the space of it. Waters then stood, waiting for her to give him the permission to enter fully, waiting for her to notice him there, and giving her the distance so that it wouldn't be too much of a shock. Oh, Waters, you're here. Hi, thank you for coming. Please, come in, she says with mild surprise, setting down the book she had become so drawn into that she had noticed him. He enters fully, shutting the door with a quiet care so as not to disturb the other patients. The space is very small to him, not used to close quarters conversation. He stands in the corner next to a potted plant with his arms crossed. You, wanted to ask me something. What about? That brings him back to alert attention. He unfolds his arms and digs in the large inner pocket of his windbreaker to retrieve a small binder of printed and laminated documents. He takes only a step closer, as that is all he needs to reach his arm out to hand it to her. My personal report on events that occurred while you've been away or hospitalized, he explains. It is not much, but I would like to lend any intel I can provide to help governing the body of this planet. If you need me to make reports like this for events I can attend in more detail, you need only ask. Mira looks at the binder and the laminated pages within for a moment as he speaks. It contains short step-by-step recounts of particular events, as well as additional notes on the ways to prevent or recover from it after the fact or for the future. It also contains the laminated report on the 9/21 tornado, its data, and a transcript of a tape recording made at the site of the tornado with a copy of the tape tucked in the back pocket of the binder. You are a lawmaker. It is up to you to determine what to do with this information, he continues as she looks up from the binder, as if anticipating the question before it is said. Thank you, Waters. I will consider it, she responds, setting the binder on top of the book she had set down before. Waters nods and lets his gaze fall to the greenery that has been added to this hospital room. Various bundles of flowers, likely as a get-well-soon gift, one he forgot to open with himself. A bundle of dandelions burning a hole in the pocket of his cargo pants. He might not be the first visitor Mira has had since returning, so he figures she is already mostly aware of the events he had provided words for, but he has his own concerns about them. Questions he won't ask at this time, but it helps his sanity to know someone will read and know them. Perhaps the issues he's concerned about will be addressed without him needing to speak on it personally. He can only hope. There is one other thing, though I don't know if it really warrants any discussion. It's strange. His words are slow and hesitant, with an air of heavy confusion as he stares at the door instead of looking at Mira, as if worried someone will suddenly arrive and make what he's about to confess all the more embarrassing. Mira sits up in bed with concern in her expression. What do you mean? What happened? There's a silence in the room that Waters dreads to fill. He had done some research after the last correspondence and learned of a creature type that shouldn't be capable of written communication, and yet he had been responding to it with utter seriousness. Retrospect makes it feel a lot more like a mistake, and he actively regrets initiating it as a point of discussion, but he hasn't told anyone else before this point. Yawn? Oh, I thought you were saying yawn at this. No, this is interesting. You're making a can of truffle. Oh, truffle 100% sleeps at their desk. Like, that's a given. He braces himself and opens the same pocket inside his windbreaker to retrieve a pile of neatly folded pages of letters. A couple days ago, around the time I began construction on a Keepers of Solace water tower, I received a correspondence in my mailbox from an entity that refers to itself as the Rats. They wanted me, under my position as the department head for Parks and Rec, to invest in establishing a plumbing system for the ultimate betterment of the environment of Solace. Waters pauses only long enough to reach out and hand Mira the first letter from the Rats, giving her time to unfold and start reading it before he continues on. Should I read the Rats, the letters? Oh, damn, it brought me back to the top. I don't know if Waters is here. Yes. Go for it? All right. First letter. From Rats to Waters. Dear Waters, we the Rats feel as if we need to talk about how there's no main plumbing system in Solace. Whether or not this has been left to the wayside on purpose or accident, something needs to be done about it. Without a main plumbing system, you would have many future problems in your infrastructure and problems with keeping Solace clean. Even though we are rats, we do take pride in our cleanliness, but we can only go so far. As we are the ones to bring this up, if you are willing to do something about it, we are willing to help you. If you wish to contact us, we have added a mailbox to what we believe is the correct area for factions. I responded to them that I was working on developing that actively, informing them of the expected timeline of how long it would take to be finished. They had asked in the first message if they could provide any assistance to this project, and I told them of ways they could contribute in my letter response. He trails off, scratching the back of his neck in discomfort. Let me duplicate this real quick. From Waters to Rats. Rats, thank you for taking a vested interest in the betterment of Solace infrastructure. A core plumbing system is currently in development. Expected construction will follow from the Keepers of Solace Waste Management Facility to the Keepers of Solace Community Center over the next few days. Loud noises from construction will be expected as a notice. If you would like to support these efforts, you can start the tunnel demolition from whichever side is most convenient for you, and the tunnels can meet up. This could help shorten the timeline of expected project completion and remove noise concerns from nearby residents at a more efficient pace. It is entirely up to your discretion if you believe this is within your capabilities. To follow that, I do have some concerns of my own to make note of. For starters, who are you? Are you residents of Solace? Residents of the Keepers of Solace? What is a rat? You speak as a collective. How many of you are there? Why has nobody encountered you before this point? And finally, why contact me? The planet was created by a being known as Freya. She is the ultimate authority on what measures can be added to better the landscape. I do not have nearly as much sway in the system of this planet as she could. On this matter I do, but other issues beyond the stretch of maintenance, environmental sustainability, and cleanliness are outside of my jurisdiction. How did you know to contact me? Thank you for your time and consideration. I hope to hear back from you soon. Director Ian Waters of Sue-on-Sea. NC. NC. It's so embarrassing for him. As far as the response goes, he thinks he handled it with incredible professionalism and addressed any concerns he could think of with a proper response or explanation, but is he missing something? He's always been the last to get a joke. He couldn't imagine how violence would react if he knew that this was going on. Though violence has been rather respectful work, he can sense that that just needs to be one thing that gives an opening to repeat for the rest of time. Rat mail would be one of those things. Waters lets out a heavy sigh, leaning back against the glass heavily and tilting his head down to the floor. He raises his arms briefly in an exasperated gesture of "what can you do?" as he continues speaking. However, I also asked them many questions, as I am not aware of anyone on Solace who goes by Rats, and I was, admittedly, curious. At the time, I didn't know what rats were. I recently learned that they are a type of rodent from Earth, but I hadn't known at the time of correspondence. He pauses and looks up to see her response, if her face tells him anything. Mira is watching him and occasionally glancing down at the letter with a hand over her mouth. He cannot read what the expression is in her eyes. He's bad at that. But it could mean anything. He's not going to read into that right now. There is no world where he doesn't finish a full explanation of something he started speaking on. Amusement at this time would have backed off and back off and walk away, feeling unsatisfied with himself for not being able to finish speaking for the rest of the day. With a short motion, he pushes himself off the wall and hands over the most recent letter, the only one left in his hand. It is taken by the prosthetic arm Mira has gained, with some struggle, as her other hand leaves her mouth to take hold of the previous letter. The paper nearly flutters out of the grasp, but she's able to control that enough to where it only falls once it's just over her lap. She's still learning to use that new arm, and Waters can offer her no advice on that end. Here's this final letter, from Rats to Waters. Dear Waters, starting on the first and main subject of our messaging, the core plumbing system, we believe it is fully within our capabilities to help demolition on the tunnels. On to your concerns. Who are we? We are, as we said before, the Rats. Rats, we are the Rats, celebrating yet another birthday bash. Michael, it's your birthday today. Sorry. Mika, it's your birthday today. Cake and ice cream is on its way. And Mika. I don't remember the rest of it. How many of us are there? We do not feel the need to give you an exact number. All that you need to know is that we are many. Are we residents of Solace, keepers? We are residents in the same way everyone who lives on a planet that is a resident of said planet. Yet we do not follow your laws, as we have made our own system which we feel is superior to yours. Oh no. The Rats are going to be like the Borg. We speak as a collective. The reason we do so is because we share mind, yet not thought. Why has nobody encountered us before? We have recently gained hive mind sentience, and we were few when we began. Why contact you, as how we knew to do so? And how we knew to do so. As we are many, we are also in many places at one time. From what we have seen, your biology and mind would be most conducive to the problem at hand. Yours sincerely, the Rats. My brother took my banjo and sung me the SpongeBob banjo song, so this is the third birthday song I heard today. This letter contains their answers to my questions, and I have not yet responded to it. I don't know what to say or do about it. Is it perhaps a joke, or some kind of prank on me? Or is this something to actually be concerned about? He says, finalizing his thoughts and returning to his position leaning against the wall, looking drained from just having to admit all of that. Mira looks at the two letters now sitting in her lap, but doesn't read the second one yet. She stacks the new one on top of the previous one and looks at them for a second before nodding to herself, lifting her gaze to Waters with a soft look into her expression, a smile on her lips. Waters, new creatures appear on Solace all the time, so I think it's good that you've been treating them with so much respect. I can't imagine there's anyone here who would want to play a prank on you specifically. You don't have to worry about that. But I'm glad you brought me your concerns. You can always tell me about these things. She speaks softly, reassuringly. Some of the tension leaves Waters' shoulders at those words. It is a relief that she doesn't see it as a joke. There was a small concern in his mind that his continual correspondence with the supposed rodents of another planet would seem like a waste of resources. He looks away from her, not knowing how to respond, but nodding anyway. My thought is, if these are rats from Earth, how did they get over here? We're like, I need to ask Virgil. I don't know how many, like, hundreds of light years, maybe, yeah, light years Solace is away from Earth, but it's like outside, it's like on the very edge of the rim of the Soul Pack Union, which is huge. So, yeah. How did rats go to the new world? Exactly. Mira nods back, then sits quietly as she reads over. I don't know where the rats are from. I haven't asked them. Fair. They could be from somewhere nearby. I think they're going to be like, they're bad. I have a bad feeling about the rats. Hive minds are scary. She reads over the second letter and, at a certain point, her brows furrow. Her eyes flick as if reading the same line on the page twice over. Then her hands lightly push the pages back in line, then fumble to fold them with her prosthetic limb. I can see why you were concerned, but I'll need more information to understand where they might be coming from. I trust you to report any more findings about them to me? She asks, leaning forward with the letters in her grasp to return them to him. Waters stands up straight and takes the step forward to receive the folded letters back, lightly tucking them back in their place in his pocket. He's quiet for a second as he considers her question. He hadn't considered that someone would see his point of view and encourage him to continue diplomatic relations with an entity that claims itself to be a hive mind. Why am I getting stick bugged? But it is not beyond the stretch of his intelligence gathering capabilities. With a nod, he confirms, I will continue my correspondence and maintain copies of all message history. I have not witnessed any rats yet, but I will check the security cameras around the community center after I write and deliver my next letter, to see who, if anyone, enters the building to pick it up. Mira beams and then gathers herself back with a clearing of her throat. She clasps her hands together on her lap in a poise of professionalism. Thank you. I look forward to hearing what you find, she says, a smile still present on her face. Waters, sensing their conversation coming to a close, clicks open the pocket on his cargo pants to retrieve a bundle of dandelions tied together with a strand of glass. Grass, not glass. It's a tradition he also read about, giving flowers to wish well to the people who are going through something. Dandelions in particular meaning resilience, healing. He presents them and moves over to set them down on the table to the side of her. Thank you as well for your time. I wish you a smooth recovery. And with some final exchanges, Waters leaves the room and then the building and heads back to the work on the plumbing system, preparing in his mind for what he should say to the rats in his next letter, feeling a lot more confident on how he should go about dealing with them from that point on. The way that Waters, thinks through things and, Waters' logic and everything is, I think Waters as a character is one of the most relatable characters to me personally. Besides Freya, who is a total self-insert, but I relate to Waters just I don't know. The way that he goes through things and is all right, I'm sensing that this conversation is coming to a close. This would be a good time to give the flowers, and thinking through all of this stuff. I don't know. This is Waters is a very relatable character to me. I love it. He's autistic coded? Oh no, am I learning something about myself? Don't do that to me. I am autistic coded. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I am also autistic. I also probably have ADHD, but I'm just not testing for any of that because I don't want to think about it. I thought I knew you, Freya. My brother has ADHD, and he's pretty sure that he has autism as well, but he hasn't gotten tested for that. He's only gotten tested for ADHD. I've been meaning to post this all weekend, but I've come down with the plague. Oh my god, it's from the rats. Alright, imagine this was some day before Friday. Okay, got it. Also, I am sorry, my voice today has been really off. I feel like I sound sick, but I'm not. You're currently in the process of getting diagnosed with ADHD? Good luck. I've heard it's really tough. That's part of why I haven't gone, because they're like, are you trying to get drugs? Is that why you're doing this? Also, I panic when people ask me questions. That's why I do so poorly in interviews, because they'll ask me they're gonna ask me oh, why do you think you have ADHD? I'll be like, I don't know, even though I do have many reasons, but I'll just be like, I don't know, I'll panic. 3 forms. Forms are fun to fill out. I like forms. Okay. An old lesson. The spruce forest of Frostfire was hushed beneath falling snow. White flakes drifted between black branches, muffling the world into silence. Only the wolves howled in the distance, their voices like echoes of those long gone. Krufix stepped into the clearing, boots sinking into powder beneath her. Her hood slipped back, and the chill of the evening breeze touched her scar. It carved across half her face, the left side pale and rigid where Eclipse's rifle had torn away flesh and bone. She remembered the darkness, how sight and thought had ended all at once. Then the agony of return. Flesh had regrown, bone reshaped, and mind rethreaded. She had come back, but the scar refused to let her forget. Eurylo stood next to a tree, waiting. His form was tall and austere. Austere? Austere. His hair yellow like daffodils, his eyes the color of the leaves in his flower crown. A sword rested in his hand, snow sliding from the steel as if unwilling to touch it. He looked less like a man and more like spring itself given flesh. This is so poetic. You walk too soon, Eurylo said, voice heavy as carved stone. Krufik touched the ruined skin of her cheek. Yeah, well, death had its chance. Didn't stick. Your stance is flawed, Eurylo remarked. She snorted, unsheathing her blade. Always is. Still works, though. He raised his sword. The sparring began. Steel clashed, ringing through the forest. Krufik moved fast, her strikes raw and furious. Eurylo's responses were measured, and each cut was inevitably heavy. Her scar burned with each motion, the cold biting where the skin was still new. She swung high. He caught it easily and struck her jaw with his free hand. Bone cracked. Bone cracked! Oh my god. Pain flared and then dissolved as her regeneration took hold. She spat blood, grinning. You burn out too fast, Eurylo said, circling her. Fire consumes itself before its work is done. Better than sitting around twiddling my thumbs while others take charge, she shot back. At least fire does something. Their swords ground together, sparks spilling into the snow. He kneed her ribs. She slammed her elbow into his jaw. The forest shook with their struggle, half duel, half conversation. You were gone when Eclipse struck, she growled, scar pulling taut as she bared her teeth. Half my face gone, and where was father then? Eurylo twisted her wrist. Her sword dropped into the snow, almost being absorbed by it. His blade covered at her throat. His voice was calm, absolute. I bore witness. Her laugh was sharp, bitter. You watched? That's your excuse? You fell, yet you rose. That is proof enough. Stop speaking in riddles, old man, Krufik joked. They broke apart, snow swirling between them. Then they crashed together again, fists and knees striking. Krufik felt her ribs snap, then mend. Her knuckles split against his jaw, then closed again before the blood could freeze. Eurylo's breath frosted in the air. You are not only fire, you carry Morena's darkness and my divine. That is why death will not keep you. Krufik froze for half a heartbeat, her scar burning as though it remembered the rifle's shot. She'd always guessed, but hearing it aloud cut deeper than steel. Great, she muttered, blade flashing back into her hand. 2 gods in my blood, and all it buys me is migraines and daddy issues. Insane. Their swords collided again, sparks leaping into the snow, faces inches apart, his gaze glacial, hers burning. Why persist in this struggle? Eurylo asked. She bared her teeth. Because it's the only damn language you speak. The snow fell heavier, clinging to their lashes. For an instant, there was recognition. Not peace, not love, but something truer, carved through violence. Then Eurylo shoved her back, lowering his blade. Again. Krufik's chest rose and fell, her breath steaming. She wanted to curse him, to demand warmth he could not give. Instead, she smirked through the scar and raised her sword. They're so toxic. I love it. This is probably one of my favorite things, favorite Krufik lore pieces. That was really good. I like that. A daunting visit. In contribution with Frog, Feather, and Lucky, a hospital visit to a wounded individual has become an unlikely meeting for those who find each other familiar, even if it's negatively so. Warning, fighting? I don't know, is that important? Minority blood mention? No, you're good. It's mainly just because people were really, like, writing some really heavy stuff, and I was like, okay. Or, like, stuff that's just against the rules. Which, I mean, don't do that, but... alright. Daunting visit. A visit to the hospital is regularly to check up on cared ones, or for other medical reasons. With this, it is common for causing little to no argument, or rather plentiful amounts of care and greetings. Of course, though, that fairness is not to be much too giving when familiar faces are all too fond to one far too familiar. Lucky was frankly quite happy, walking alongside Frog as Frog went along with chattering about anything and everything that came to mind. Upon seeing Rotwood, the comforted smile shifted into a look of disgust that grew across her face, questioning Feather as to why Rotwood was here. Lucky handed Feather a cup of fresh brewed tea, letting the smoke emit from the heated drink. Who let the ogre in? Lucky grumbled, looking back at Frog in hopes that she would back up Lucky on this question, or at least leave another snarky insult. Rotwood stared back at Lucky and Frog, his expression forming a stretched scowl upon recognizing them both. Ogre is a bold term to use for an insult, goat lassie. Rotwood sneered back, crossing his arms like it was an act of offense, in which it probably was. Well, you're the one who attacked me. You uncultured idiot, Lucky spat back, puffing up her shoulders to give off a tough appearance, which inevitably failed due to Rotwood being abnormally or even freakishly tall. Rotwood stepped forwards once, establishing any form of disliking that may not have been as clear to the eye as before. Rotwood's expression became sharper, curling back his lips to bare his teeth at her. How unpleasant. And I do it again. Lucky stood her ground, shifting her shoulders. Oh yeah? Well, I dare you to try. Maybe then I could put a bigger gash in your head, she spat back, letting out a defiant huff. Rotwood tapped his head over the large scar that covered his eye, reminding himself of what Lucky did to him during the brawl. You pestilence. You don't belong here. Well, I'm sorry that some of us actually care about other people instead of wanting to turn them into rotten chow. Lucky snapped back at Rotwood defiantly, stomping her hoof into the ground and creating a loud hoof-popping noise that silenced the room immediately after. Her expression stayed stern, not showing any intention of regretting her decisions. Rotwood was about to make a cocky comeback, but he was silenced by Feather, who held up an arm and yelled out, "Could you guys please stop? Act civil." The room was quiet for a few seconds, allowing Frog to break the silence with a soft-spoken question. "Oh, you're here too?" Her expression of unease and confusion grew, trying to figure out why he was there as well. "Do you know this guy, Feather?" "He, Rotwood, is my friend. He's here to visit, just like you two are." Feather tried to cool down the situation, sitting up in the hospital bed and shuffling her remaining wing around until it was comfortably folded back. Frog's nose wrinkled, clearing her throat and raising her hand to her nose. Would you light a candle or something? This room smells awful. It smells funky in here." She looked over at Rotwood, referring to how he smelled like a literal walking corpse, which is quite difficult to tolerate for obvious reasons. Rotwood noticed Frog hinting at an indirect insult, covering his face with a large hand, his nails slightly digging into his face. He let out an annoyed growl, dragging his hand down his face like an exhausted man. "Could you just shut up? If Feather really knows you both, pissing me off isn't going to make it any easier for me to tolerate you two." He stepped back, leaning against the wall with narrowed eyes. His gaze shifted back towards Lucky, his head lifting up as he saw her prepare to speak. Lucky didn't want to ease up around Rotwood, not yet, but she had to for Feather. "Just stay out of my bubble." She crossed her arms, staying next to Frog for reassurance of safety. Frog looked back at Lucky, then side-eyeing Rotwood. She shrugged, deciding to do the same as Lucky. Feather shot glances at every person in the room, trying to identify everyone's emotions that were in the room. Once she decided that it was a good time to speak, she let out a sigh and cleared her throat to get everyone's attention. "Ahem. Supposing that we're all done fighting here, this is Rotwood." She hoped that this would switch up the situation at least a little bit. Rotwood lifted up one hand, waving his hand in a slow motion, of course, with clear disapproval being evident. Feather gave Rotwood a quick, annoyed look, then looked back at Lucky and Frog. "Rotwood, this is Lucky and Frog, my friends." She smiled while saying that, trying to ease up the tension in the room. Lucky and Frog looked back at each other as if they spoke to one another telepathically. Frog looked back and shrugged off the introduction, while Lucky took note of his name, jotting it down in her brain like a notebook. Once everyone had enough time to take a mental note of each other's names, the room door creaked open, revealing a staff member of the hospital, who held a clipboard that was equipped with a paper and pen. "Sorry for the interruption, but I'm afraid that this room is causing a disruption in the hospital. I will kindly have to ask everyone besides the patient to exit the room and head towards the hospital's exit doors." "Rip." The staff member adjusted their grip on the clipboard, pushing their back against the door to open it for them all so they could exit. Rotwood snorted, baring his teeth and pointing a finger at Frog and Lucky. "It wasn't me. They started this." He looked pissed about having to take the blame alongside them both. Frog looked back at Rotwood with her jaw dropped. Lucky, on the other hand, stared daggers at him, the look being enough to count as a silent threat. The staff member didn't change their expression, still fully expecting them all to exit the building without defiance. Frog was the first one to step out of the room while rapidly waving her arm around to say goodbye to Feather, basically forcing Lucky to follow her. Rotwood kicked off the wall and followed along with them both, exiting the room and watching the staff member close the door right after they left. Rotwood stared down at the two, huffing a response. "Your fault." They all headed out of the hospital building, standing out front and taking a moment to gather themselves. Lucky was fueled with a sour anger towards Rotwood, spiking her voice upward and yelling at Rotwood almost right after they were all outside. "Our fault? Our fault? You're the one who looked at us with disgust as soon as we walked into the room. If anything, this is on you." She stepped forwards, jabbing him in the chest with a pointed finger of accusation. Rotwood pushed her away, knocking her into a frog and letting them both stumble backwards like an uncoordinated group. "My fault? You started this, and your little friend that you let tag along is part of it now, no thanks to you, Rotwood hissed back, his voice darkening to a growl right after. Keep this up and I'll rip those precious horns off you and wall mount them as my trophy. His eyes shot over to Frog, who backed away from the commotion and hid, watching from afar. Lucky's eyes widened in offense when Rotwood threatened her, moving to a more defensive stance for preparation to fight him. She threw a punch towards Rotwood, and when he was looking away, hitting him directly in the gut, which made him hiss in pain and step back. Ah, you! Before he could even finish his sentence, Lucky cut him off. I am so tired of you. Rotwood was annoyed and clearly tired of this. Before Lucky could do anything else, he firmly grabbed her by the shoulder. Rotwood yanked her forwards, curling his hand into a fist and punching her in the lower jaw, sending her toppling backwards over herself. Quit it! He snapped at her, watching as she dropped to the ground in pain. Lucky looked up and winced, the feeling of warm blood leaking out of her nose and down her face becoming perceptible. Rotwood walked up to her and extended a hand, offering a hand to help her up, despite just fighting her a second ago. Lucky hesitated at first, but inevitably grabbed onto his hand and let him lift her up like a rag doll. Rotwood dug his nails into her hand, reminding her that she should stop fighting him every 5 seconds. You done? Because I won't fight you. Not a feather is fond of you. He set Lucky down, brushing his hand off on his shirt like he had some sort of infection. He looked over at Frog, who was hiding beneath a bench, peeking out from the side of it. Rotwood's gaze softened for a moment, feeling pity over them both despite the situation. He fixed his hair that covered his eyes, exhaling as he turned away. Frog walked over to Lucky, checking up on her with clear concern from the whole ordeal. Are you all right, Lucky? You took quite the hit there. It's fine, Frog. I'm fine. Lucky waved her off, wiping off the blood from her face. Rotwood turned away, looking back at them both. Try and cut back on the judgment, okay? And with that, he walked off, leaving them both to their own commotions. Ah! Jesus. Good timing, though. Is this why Lucky went missing? Isn't that what just happened? D100, The Attack. Caution, blood and graphic description of violence. Violence the clown? Alright, we have a security camera and The Attack. I will read this. The flow of blood. Ringing, buzzing. What is that sound? What is he hearing? Hands shaking as he lifts them. Then he stumbles and hits his shoulder hard against the deep slate wall of a building he remembers to have constructed. But when did he get here? A gloved hand grabs onto the lip of the wall for support, but can't use his other hand to grab it too. There's a gun in that hand, and blood trailing down his arm. Water stares at the blood, teal and glowing in the night, bioluminescence lit up in small ponds along it like stars. But there's so much of it, too much. There's a thick gash on his arm, and from the feeling he has, it was nearly severed off completely, but all his body needs is one thread attached to repair itself. He feels the flesh stitching back together even now. Ah, that's why they're ringing. He's passing out. Oh, but he can't. He shoves his shoulder hard against the wall again so he can take his hand off of it and remove the gun from the grip of his other hand, shoving it back into the hidden holster on his hip with a trained fluidity. Then he grabs his arm at the gash and tries focusing on it, forcing the pain to draw his mind back to life. Elia. She was here. Waters! A voice cries out. If he wasn't so out of his mind right now, he would probably recognize the voice. Right now, all he recognizes is that someone has seen him and recognized him. And in this state, man, that is an inconvenience right now. I'm fine, leave me, he calls back, even though it comes out in a more distorted tone than he's sure anyone is used to hearing from him. Who knows if the words are even semi-understandable. No, this is not fine. What happened? Who did this to you? She's at his side now. When did that happen? Grasping his hand away from the gash to inspect the wound. Waters doesn't look at it. He doesn't need to in order to know how bad it is. He doesn't see the horrified look on her expression. The blood ends up on her hands as she holds his arm in place. He just grabs onto the wall again and lets his head fall. There's no explaining away something that someone can see. Even without the streetlights, the glow of his own blood is a dead giveaway. He lets out a long, shuddering breath. I'll be fine, then. Does that clear me, doctor? He bites out with more viciousness than he intended, as is the nature of trying to flee from someone when they very much should not let you go. Tell me what happened, Light repeats, no longer a question. Oh, so it's Light. Oh no, it's Light. Waters clenches his eyes shut for a long moment to think, probably longer than he intended to. He hasn't slept in a week and the blood loss isn't helping. This is not good. Elia went down the path. She was heading to the community center. He needs to get her to stop her from... Let me go and I will, he mutters out suddenly. A sped-up plea, really. You'll get yourself killed, Light responds sharply, quickly. The world feels like it's spinning. Oh, the veins in his arm have found each other again. How lovely for them. He shuts his eyes again and dips his head back with a heavy breath. I don't die easily. I just have to stop her and then I can sleep. He finds his gaze falling on Light. The 2 sets of wings on her head are something he's seen before. He knows about those. But the wings on her back? That's new. Did that just happen? Like right before his eyes and he was too dulled out of his senses to notice? Light is staring at him with tears running down her face and furrowed brows. She looks scared, concerned. Why? For him? He's a cold-blooded killer who was set just moments ago to take the life of someone else, and yet she looks to him with compassion. Still. It's not right. Someone should tell her. You haven't been sleeping? She speaks quickly, overwhelmingly fast for a slowly processing brain. When did this circle back around to sleeping? Waters stares back at her. Did I say that out loud? I don't think I did, he mumbles out, his gaze dropping from her to the blood drops that pull up from the ground to return to his arm and back into his body. It wouldn't be too much longer now if only he could just... Waters! She shouts suddenly, pulling his attention back to her tear-streaked face. Please! But he can't. It's hard to see her crying over him. Waters takes a long breath in, the tanks bubbling and cycling. All right, but not the hospital. I need water. He draws out slowly, shifting to try to hold his own weight up so that she wouldn't have to. All right, okay, I'll think of something. Let me carry you. She responds easily, relief washing through her tone like a river. Carry me? What? How are you going to... But he doesn't finish that sentence. The moment he holds his weight up on his own is the same moment the poison hits him, and that's when he really passes out. This was peak. This was absolute peak. I love Waters' lore. I've always loved Waters' lore. And this is like so... I love the way that like you write. I love your writing. This is so good. Waters is so badass. And absolute Gatsby indeed. This was really good. Like, if you haven't thought about like doing writing professionally in some way, think about it. I don't know if you've gone to college or anything. Like, consider an English degree or something. This is really good. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. And then we have a security camera. Oh, hold on. Let me, hold on. No, that's not. Hold on. There we go.
Yes, this world is such a dark place, but I'll run you down.
That's the community center. Is this Elliot? Oh, right, because Waters said that there are ways to like see if Elia is here. That's scary. I don't know if this is related to that. There's phantom noises. The video cuts out. No signal. No form, yeah. You got an interior design degree. That's really cool. Wow. But you do a lot of creative work. It is. Ooh. Ooh, I'm so happy. I'm so excited. Also, let me know if there's like, you ever need any like, stuff to run events or have something happen or whatever. Like I am here to help. But yeah, interior design degree. That's really cool. Toxic eggs. I love Waters lore. Oh, we got Mira lore. Let's go. We're eating good. Oh, hold on. Let me change this to... There we go. After the show. Oh, this is after the... how did the fashion show go? I guess we'll probably learn. You're going into real estate. Let's go. You found a job that you can do, which is editing and posting videos for real estate companies. That's so cool. I have dabbled in real estate photography, which pays really well, but it's really hard. You have to like get a good portfolio before anyone will hire you. And I specialized in more portraiture, so. All right, after the show, I was alone, walking backstage from the closing ceremony of the show. My feet hit the grass as I moved away from the stage. It was loud, more than I could handle right now. I couldn't let the crowd see how weak I was. I had to be strong, even though I almost fainted 2 times back there. If I hadn't promised Nix I could participate, I would have gone back to the hospital. It was a miracle that I was even allowed to get out of it for the show. Recovering from blood loss was more difficult than what shows make it seem like. I could barely walk, and the lights made my eyes weak. I had to wait for the show to be taken down, so I decided to stay nearby, far enough from the crowd to not hear the noise, but not far enough to be too hard to find. I reached a tree. It rested next to a small clearing with a few wildflowers scattered in the grass. The evening light was turning into more orange hue as it neared sunset. My eyes rested softly on one specific wildflower that was taller than the rest. It was a soft orange color, almost standing out like a sore thumb with the rest of the blue and purples in the patch. I slid slowly against the tree, using it to help me sit down. No wonder everyone was so worried. If I had known losing blood took this long to recover from, I would have been scared shitless too. Did Maleron have these problems too? Back then, Dad and all his friends would come over for dinner to talk about their shift and the small altercations, never talking about injuries or anything that resulted in disaster. It was nice. They kept most to themselves, and then my sister joined. She used to be rowdy, yes, but then she became detached, closer with specific members of the police, including Dad's friends. She wouldn't sing anymore and stopped teaching me music, but at least she never became separated from Dad. He was always closer with her either way. Mom was always busy, and I had the academy, alone. I shook my head, causing myself to become lightheaded again. Stop it. Yeah, they weren't the best, but they didn't leave of their own will. I felt my eyes still not focusing. It just reminded me of my headache. Oh, right, I should probably use the thing Magos, I keep calling him Magos gave me. I opened my backpack and searched through the piles of clothes until I felt a cylindrical object. I pulled it out gently from the bag, making sure that the clothes in the bag weren't pulled with it. I had taken a look at it back at the hospital. It was only a few days ago. Magos' mask was on his face as always, his robotic voice demonstrating to me how the stimulant worked. Make sure you hit a muscle. It is not going to be pleasant. I could still hear his instructions as I lifted my pant leg to reveal my calf. He had already used the stimulant on my right leg, so I needed to let it heal for a bit. I inspected the injection. It wasn't like a normal syringe. It did not have a needle and the cap was flat. It looked innocent enough, but it was more painful than what it seemed. Magos said that it normally would be an oral pill, but due to the amount of blood I had lost, I needed a stronger version, and he was willing to give me intensive treatment due to my position. I shuddered a bit as I remembered the pain. The technology setback the anomaly created caused more and more problems every day. My right arm gripped the syringe as my thumb then pushed against the cap until it snapped off. A blue ring of needles was revealed, deep enough to puncture into the muscle. I saw some bubbles escape from the top of the needles as the electronics of the machine did its work, making it look like a foam until the bubbles popped. I inspected the syringe as it beeped and a green light turned on, indicating it was ready to use. My hand shook as it positioned the syringe next to my calf. I brought my leg closer to my mouth, biting on the sleeve of the jacket before plunging the syringe into my leg. The needles themselves weren't exceptionally painful, but they still created a ring of blood on my leg. The real pain was when I felt the liquid enter my body, a burning sensation that spread through. It slowly made its way up my body until I was enveloped in pain, making my heart race and adrenaline curse as though I was in a pit of fire. I bit on the sleeve harder as I tried to control my breathing. Minutes passed agonizingly slowly until the burning sensation felt more like a sting. The syringe beeped and I could feel it retract the needles into itself. I took out the needle and let my arm rest limply next to my hip. I needed to breathe. The adrenaline and pain didn't subside though, and I doubt they would for several minutes. I leaned my head back against the tree, making sure to count how much I was breathing. The small bristling of the wind and the biting cold of the snow were enough to keep me grounded. It took me a full minute before I brought my pant leg back down, making sure it hid the patch of blood from the needles. I could see the lights of the stage turn off, making the sky turn a darker shade of orange. I ran my arm through my hair, the metal covered by the jacket I brought. I was grateful that even though I was theoretically strong enough to almost match someone like Eleanor, it was still gentle enough to do simple tasks with. I continued playing with my hair, undoing knots and also practicing the braid Comet taught me how to do until I decided to place it in a bun. It was the only hairstyle I really knew how to do. It helped to distract me from the pain. It was better than spacing out. I continued humming and eventually relaxed. The sky got cloudier. A lot of people passed by as they headed home. The sky getting darker and darker until I could smell the rain. I would need a jacket, maybe an umbrella. I didn't allow myself to think. I had thought enough during my stay at the hospital, and I could continue thinking once I get back to it again. I don't know how long I stayed seated, but I felt a drop of rain hit my nose, making me open my eyes. The figure was across the field under a tree, but I could always recognize that silhouette, the antlers shorter than Comet by feet. She took a step, then two. Faster. I heard the sound of metal. I raised my left arm, then felt the impact. Huh? The sword stopped centimeters from my neck, cutting through the cloth of the jacket and revealing the metal underneath. The rain poured down around us, freezing and painful to the touch. It helped me stay awake, helped my vision clear as I used all my strength in the standoff. I screamed, loud, piercing, and hoping the rain wouldn't dampen it. What could I do? There are several feet distance between us, and I could feel the adrenaline was the only thing keeping me awake. She changed her grip, withdrawing the sword. I felt the air move as she swung her sword. I ran, falling on my face and blinding me as I hid behind a tree. I heard her running, then stopping. I covered my mouth with my right arm, inhaling soft breaths to keep quiet. Why wasn't she chasing? I couldn't hear her. I waited, time passing by so frustratingly slow until I heard a twig snap. My body ran, my legs screaming in pain as I forced it to keep moving. I continued running, hearing heavy footsteps behind me. I ran until I saw the lights, kept running until I tripped. I turned around, heaving as people gathered around me. I darted my eyes to the forest, the glint of the sword being sheathed. I kept my eyes on Okul, on the way her body turned and the footprints that were washed by the rain. Dude, Okul! Somebody's gotta get Okul! Somebody's gotta get Okul! This is crazy! Oh my god, I thought this was just gonna be like a sweet little thing. No! Oh my god! Somebody's gotta get Okul! Hounds of War. Warning: violence, blood, child abuse. Dude, some of the warnings in this, I'm like, what the heck? Alright. Raise your sword, Balios. Xanthos' voice was calm, yet it carried the weight of command that could silence armies. The Terragins are close. We can stop them. We can stop them here before they reach our borders. Balios hesitated, clutching the dull iron blade in his hand. Father, I'm only 14. The other boys my age aren't going to war. Why do I? A blade of cinders and shadow tore through the air, stopping a centimeter from his throat. The heat licked his skin. His words died. Xanthos stepped forward, eyes burning like banked embers. Because you are a prince. They are not. You will fight by my side, and you will win by my side. He pressed the shadow blade closer until Balios felt its hum against his pulse. Now, raise your sword. Balios lifted the iron sword again, trembling. Before it reached his chest, Xanthos' swing knocked it from its grasp. The clang echoed through the training hall like a bell of judgment. You will not wield pleasant steel, Xanthos growled. You are bloodhound. Your weapon is forged from your soul. Raise your sword. Balios understood then. His father didn't mean the blade in his hand. He meant the one buried somewhere inside him, the one he didn't know how to call forth. He drew a slow breath and reached inward. The ground shook. Dark spikes burst from the floor, twisting with shadows. Balios stumbled back in shock. Xanthos sneered. I said a sword, you useless whelp, not spikes. Again. Balios' heart pounded. He tried once more, straining to focus. A flicker of magic answered, shaping itself into a dagger, small and pathetic. I was so close to being done, but no, I downloaded it on transparent and the white part is now black. The face is not visible. Oh no. You said a really important picture in general. I'll see it eventually. Xanthos' patience snapped. His sword flashed in fury. Enough! He lunged, swinging with the weight of fury and disappointment. Balios raised the dagger, but before the blades met, another eruption, a wall of blackened spikes speared up from the earth, catching Xanthos' strike midair. Xanthos roared, his weapon twisting into a warhammer that crackled with crimson runes. He smashed through the barrier and charged. Balios barely dodged, but the hammer's edge grazed his shoulder, sending pain through his body. He fell hard, gasping, as Xanthos loomed over him. Instinct took over. Balios threw his hands up, and his soul answered. A weapon emerged from the darkness, a double-headed staff, each end curved into crescent blades like the wings of an axe. Its shaft was black as night, threaded with veins of green roots. Zenthos' warhammer crashed down upon it. The blow echoed like thunder and did nothing, not even a single dent. For a long moment, Zenthos stared not with anger, pride, maybe, or the ghost of it. Finally, he murmured, making his hammer vanish into embers, you forged something worthy of your blood. Balios rose, panting, the new weapon still in his hands. His shoulder throbbed, his heart raced, but for the first time he met his father's gaze without much fear. Then, from somewhere beyond the valley, a horn sounded, deep and distant. The Terragins had breached the scout lines. It'd be days until they arrived, which meant many, many days of endless training. 6 days of training went by slowly. Horns blew on the 3rd and the 6th day. Today was the war. Balios was on his war horse, a beast of one made from shadows that his father had conjured. He and his father rode on shadow horses. His father was in the royal bloodhound armor, an all-black set made from the toughest steel. His helmet was in the shape of a hellhound with red eyes. Balios wore a royal prince's attire with some tweaks to make it battle-ready. The right arm was set to black steel plates, and the left was left normal, a glove and a sleeve, a red cloak over his shoulder, and black boots. He wore a mask, which was similar to a porcelain mask, just made out of black steel, and horns grew from the forehead of the mask. It symbolized a dragon. Balios' father always thought Bloodhound ruled with dragons in the past, so Zenthos wore the hound armor while Balios wore the dragon. The Bloodhounds had thousands of soldiers, and so did the Terragins, but the Terragins only had ocean magic, which was their first mistake. There was no ocean nearby, nor lakes or streams, but the Bloodhounds had all sorts of magic. They had access to them, trees, shadows cast from objects the sun shone on. The final horn blew, and both sides charged Zenthos at the front line, but Balios didn't move. The reality of this struck him finally. This was war, a place where many have been killed, but more have caused the deaths. Thoughts ran through Balios' head. Was he going to die? Was he going to watch as everyone died? Would it be his fault if he were the only one left alive because he didn't help? Then the horse moved, not because he made it, no, but because his father did. Zenthos was pulling him into this battle whether he was ready or not. In the matter of moments, everything was real. There was blood and bodies everywhere. Screaming and yelling were heard across the battlefield. The horse that Balios was on vanished as Zenthos made multiple blades appear in a float ring that shot at enemies. Balios fell on the ground before standing and watching. He was scared people were running back and forth. Arrows rained down like a thunderstorm of hellfire, which was funny. The arrows were also on fire. Balios made his fan blade appear before hesitantly running into battle. He didn't strike, but one thing he learned was to take out the strongest one, or the leader. So he charged toward the leader of the Terragins' army, dodging arrows and blades from many men, but he never made it to the leader. An arrow he didn't see struck him in the leg, causing him to kneel. He let out a yell. But he wasn't done. He stood and began to run again, only this time things began to follow. Vines and trees began to stir as if coming to life, and a mist from the shadows began to spread over the fields. The ground shook with each step Balios took, yelling in pain. Then large vines burst out of the ground, wrapping around enemies and crushing them or tearing them from limb. The mist densified and spikes shot out, going through people. The Bloodhound army froze as this 14-year-old boy ran towards the leader of the Terragins. Zenthos was pissed. He didn't like that his boy was trying to outdo him and kill the leader, so he formed a bow and arrow and shot Balios in the other leg. Balios dropped, and the Terragins saw this as a chance to continue. Their army continued its attack. The hounds pushed forward. Some tried to get Balios to help, but failed. It wasn't long till Balios was surrounded by enemies. His father didn't seem to notice, or he just didn't care enough. Dragons have wings, boy, so stop trying to act like one. You'll never move as freely as they, nor ever be as powerful. His father said this on the 5th day of training, when he was in his armor to test it. He didn't need to be as powerful, he just needed to move. 2 damaged legs wouldn't get him anywhere. The roots around shrank into the ground before bursting out near him. Not as big, but they defended against the enemies. Mist surrounded him before climbing up to his back and forming a wing shape behind both shoulders. Then the roots slithered over and attached to act like the bones of the wings. A burst of mist staggered people around as Balios took off. He tested the wings, made note of weaknesses, but continued. He flew towards the leader, making his fan blade warp into a dagger. Arrows flew past him as he dodged them. His father watched, but he wasn't going to let Balios feel like he won, just because he had wings. So he got off his horse and began calmly walking through the battlefield. Spikes shot out, impaling enemies left to right. He swung his sword at nearby enemies. Balios got to the leader first on a carriage, but before he could attack, something pierced his chest and went through the leader. Below, Zenthos had made spikes tear through the carriage, and a small spike went through Balios and into the head of the leader. Balios wanted to scream, but something was already forming from around the spike, slowly making its way through Balios' body. But it stopped and reverted only a little bit as the spike exited his body. Balios' body fell, hitting the slope of the spikes before rolling down onto the foot to the foot of Zenthos. All he did was order some people to carry Balios back to the castle. The wings wrapped around Balios, forming a cocoon to heal him. But doctors and other alchemists learned that the healing cocoon didn't heal one thing, the spreading of a corruption made by Zenthos' spike. It would have been reversible if Zenthos had done what the alchemist had told him to do, but instead he did nothing. Thought it would be a lesson to not get in the way of his victory. Damn. That sucks. We got what's that TikTok sound? Daddy issues, daddy issues. That's what we got today. Kruphik and Balios. Journal 6 from Light. There will be mentions of an injury, small bit of blood, poisoning, and panicking. There will be some colorful words, cursing, said as well. You've been warned. This will be both events from outside Light's journal and her writings within it as well. This is to prevent me from going over the document limit since I have already posted 2 separate times, which have been read, but I'm unsure if the limit has been reset because of that. Oh. If they've been read, then you're fine. It's okay, like, it's once a week. So if you post more than 3 times a week, then please try to limit it. But it's just so I don't have, like, 5-hour streams, you know? The moon shined against black iridescent scales as a large dragon with white mane and fur flew through the air. In her talons, she held a body. She flew towards the small growing faction known as the Moon-Touched Kingdom as quick as she could. As soon as she saw the lands of her faction, she dove, shifting midair into her human form. Light, now carrying the unconscious Waters in her arms, floated down gracefully and landed. She rushed into her home, ignoring the glowing blood that stained her hands and new clothes from the fashion show. She grabbed a couple of... What happened at the fashion show? Should I have... Well, I couldn't have been there. But what happened at the fashion show? It seems like it was a massacre. Mira got attacked by Okul? You won? What does that mean? You did a video. Okay, good. Because, like, what is going on? This happened after the fashion. Waters got attacked somehow? Was it Elia? You won. That's all. Wait, was it Elia? Oh my god. It wasn't at the fashion show. It was later when Waters went back to work. Oh, okay. Oh my god. I was wondering if, like, Elia, like, messed up the fashion show. Okay. For Waters, at least. Okay. Then Light got to work. She used the healing potion to disinfect the wound, but that was when her sensitive nose had caught the hint of poison. She cursed under her breath. She had noticed that his wound was healing on its own, but she was sure that the poison from whoever had attacked him was designed to work around Waters' healing. She'd need to use her healing magic to burn most of it out. Light took a deep breath. She knelt beside Waters' body, held his hands with both of hers, and started to use her magic. A gentle white light wrapped around their hands and entered into the older man's body. It gently burned out most of the poison without interrupting his own healing factor. Once Light was done, she gently placed Waters' hand down and sighed tiredly. She left for a bit, coming back with water buckets, quartz, moss, and a healing potion. She created a pool of water, large enough to be considered a small pool. She lined the bottom with quartz and the walls with moss before mixing the healing potion into the water to at least ease any pain Waters might have been feeling. Once again, she picked Waters up and gently placed him into the small pool. Once he was submerged, she gently disconnected his tanks. She wasn't going to risk his helmet since she doubted that he wanted to be seen without it by someone he didn't trust. She got out of the pool and dried off the tanks before stuffing them into one of her shulker boxes and hiding said shulker box in her backpack. She suspected that he wouldn't listen to her advice as a healer to rest whenever he recovered enough, but she just hoped that he recovered. Light yawned and walked out of the room, leaving to change her clothes, rest, and then make food for Waters for whenever he awoke. She tried not to think about the fact that Waters felt more like water in his suit, nor was she going to ask about it. She wouldn't even push his boundaries if he wasn't ready to explain things, if he would even speak about it. None of that mattered right now. Light just hoped that Waters will be alright. Aw, I love Light. She's so sweet. The 6th day of the 10th month. The 6th era since the Evanescence, 10:18 of the clock morning. It'd be crazy if Elliot started targeting large social events. I may have a proposition for you. I may have a proposition for you. DM me. I'll get to you after the stream. I don't know. I don't know if it would work, but
Lizard.
We'll see. We'll see. Well, I got Waters to rest for the day, although I doubt he likes that I'm keeping a close eye on him as if he's a misbehaving child. Nope, I'm not gonna be scared. I doubt he'll do anything since I have his tanks, but I've been wrong before, so I'm not risking anything. I had gotten him to when he first woke up. I did have to tell Lady Kathy about Waters and even introduce them. She provided me with plants to help the remaining poison in his system. Before I knew it, she and Waters were talking about ecosystems and plants. I think they'll get along nicely. It, at the least, gave me a chance to slip away for a time. I returned to the garden area of the Keepers of Solace and looked around for any clues from the attack. So far, my search has brought nothing to light. Haha, nothing to light? Haha! Not even a footprint. I was frustrated by the lack of anything to be found. Whoever had attacked Waters was careful to leave no trace. Or was it that they couldn't leave anything behind? I still remember that voice, the one I had heard when I had gone to the SUNC to work on the garden. Could it have done something? Could it have something to do with this attack, or is it a spirit attached to Waters somehow? I do not want to ask him. I haven't told him of my spiritual abilities yet. He's a logical thinking man. He'd more than likely not believe me, and I can hardly prove something he cannot see or touch. I'll keep it to myself until I can prove anything. Anyways, when I had returned, Lady Kathy and Waters were still talking. I stayed to listen in, but they soon pulled me in to speak on some plants from my home planet. I had to admit to them that I grew up in a desert environment, and that any experience I had from plants came after the war that finished off the population of my planet after the Evanescence. I pointedly ignored their eyes when I also admitted to often snacking on poisonous plants for fun. I'm pretty sure Lady Kathy and Waters silently came to an agreement to keep those types of plants from me. Too bad for them. I make it a habit to travel and collect plants. But I didn't tell them that. I'll end this entry here. I've got to go make lunch for all of us, otherwise none of us will eat. I'm glad Lady Kathy and Waters are getting along. He seems less lonely now. This is all so wholesome, but I'm so scared. From what little remained, Eleanor and Marcello were able to find a few entries pertaining to Casimir's family, as well as an old photograph. Journal entry 9 something. I miss my family. Wonder if Ada is okay. She may have survived the Great Anomaly, but the rest of my family will never return. Even the Great Anomaly something? I'm haunted by... it haunts me every day. Maybe I should return to Hikori, or whatever it is. Is it Hikori? Something like that. To be something again. At least Cam understands. He has no idea if he had family before or whether or not they're alive. Journal entry, something else. Philo has been very interested in my magic as of late. Did we read these before? Was this the journals? Or is this is something else, I think. Hinoki, that's it, thank you. I was like, what is it? Philo has been very interested in my magic as of late. It was surprising to me, because my abilities are not impressive. Both of my siblings were much more... something than I. Something. It has been a while since I've seen Adrian. I wonder how talented he would be today. I wonder if he would something by now. Be as tall as me by now, maybe? or something. As Strawberry and I have become closer, she's been asking more about Hinoki and its story. Everything I've been trying to avoid telling her. I don't know how she'll react. Times like these are when I wish I could ask my something what to do. While organizing my old belongings, I found a picture from when I was young. It's strange, I can hardly remember my mother's face. I would have liked to get to know her better. Like Ada and Adrian had. They used to tell me such wonderful stories about her, how kind and smart she was. They stopped talking about her a long time ago. I just realized the music's been muted this whole time. I'm so sorry. And then here's a picture of them. Aww. This is so sad. This looks like a nose. These are new, I see. Lucky is missing! Lucky is missing! Missing person issued by Keepers of Solace Judicial Branch. Lucky, age 23, species satyr? I don't remember how to say that word. Height, weight, eyes, hair color, primary faction. Lucky was last seen Monday, October 6th, around 4 p.m. outside of the community center. She was wearing a red coat and a white blouse. Her right arm was broken and in a makeshift cloth sling. Other defining features include curved gray horns, fluffy ears, and digitigrade legs. Oh, man. Alright. Frostfire fashion show is here. Okay. Oh, yeah. Mira hit. Let's watch this. I'm so ready. This is 20 minutes long. Buckle up, kids. Grab your popcorn. Unless there's like a whole bunch of other stuff that isn't. Timestamps. We can just watch the whole thing. Why not? It's copyrighted? Oh. Timestamps are, there's a copyright notice for watching full sections. Only watching the people who won for the stream. Oh, okay. The who won the cover category. Okay. Frog DMs. What about Frog DMs? Alright.
These are all such goated fits. Mira got my vote. Yay.
Alright.
Oh, look at all these outfits. Look at that!
Come on up, Mira.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really like it. I really like jackets.
I love the Dress to Impress soundtrack. It's so funny. Alright. Who won the practical category?
This one was hard. Y'all did real good on this one. But my vote's gonna have to go for Feather. I really like the
that's
fit.
pretty cool. The little detail with the outline is so cool. Good job. Who won the practical category?
High key, this one was hard too. Halfway through, I realized I am also
Your
colorblind.
speech is
So-
amazing.
Oh.
Yeah. My final vote has to go to Rando.
Brando.
Amazing.
Gotcha. It's a good thing. Thank you. Thank you.
Contract. Here we go.
For those of you wondering, I do indeed feel Bonita.
Okay, I'm not.
Feather and Rando come on the stage.
This is who won
Now
the.
let's go in order. Leftmost, Mika. Middle, Feather. Right, Rando. Okay. Yes, yours on the same side as your vote as there's 40 round 3 winners apparently. Feather, come on up and make your final comments. Sure, you have one.
Yo.
Let's
I
go.
want to thank
Yo.
my dead parents. I want to thank my dead best friends. I want to thank my sibling down there in the row. I want to thank my dead horse. I want to thank my dead grandparents.
Eat your mission because the video would be 30 minutes long.
Village. I want to thank my dead comrades in
Pork
arms.
chops!
I want to thank my dead.
America's Got
I'm
Talent.
Simon Cowell, Golden Buzzer, Golden Buzzer. Y'all want to like have a tour of Frostfire while y'all here? I mean, like,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
pretty
just-
Alright, so also Waters is here. I don't know if that's canon. Alright,
Guys,
help Mira
guys,
now.
guys, help me. Hi, guys, guys.
Needing help from.
Yo! I'm trying to assassinate that poor woman. Yo! Back here.
Oh!
I just saw someone, and then she charged at me, and I don't know. I just had to run, and I ran here.
Alright. We're gonna go home together, okay? You're not going alone, okay?
Yeah, you should.
That's crazy. At first I thought it wasn't Lauren, then I logged in. He did attempt, but he left before the crowd. Ah.
Why are
I
you
quit
here?
pressure for this reaction.
I just followed.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't
Violence
really
is
have
just
a room
here.
anymore. But I have this bed. Feather used to be here. This used to be her
Next to the
room.
furnace.
No, maybe somewhere different. Where do you want to sleep?
Whatever,
about-
anywhere is fine.
What about downstairs?
I mean,
You're not going back
Would
to
that be like-
Dante?
No.
Oh.
I would have to tell Dante where I'm at. He gets worried.
Okay.
He's back at the hospital.
Oh.
I am
Check
kind
war
of
discussion.
injured.
Okay. Go back to making water towers, weather boy? What? Oh, this?
Oh my god.
That's funny. I was wondering what that was.
So
Oh. Hospital we go then.
Kind of? Kind
What
of?
do you mean by kind of?
Aren't you?
well, my prosthetic is a little bit bent. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. She, Oko, she used her sword, and I think, well, my arm, like me blocking myself, was the only reason I'm alive. She swung at my neck, and
Oh.
Violence just being there too is killing me. They're just like. Oh, I don't know why it's
I'm-
cracking me up so bad.
I'm so
Um,
sorry.
I don't know why he
Um,
came with not gonna.
Let's go to the hospital then. Come on.
It's like, okay, I guess. Oh wow. Oh man. You do still sound in shock. Go back to Dante. I want to see where
yeah,
you get to
just
the
in case,
hospital.
I
Here we
guess.
go. Dante's gonna be very mad. Well, I don't know. Who plays
Okay.
the?
We're in the hospital. We should
Is
be
Dante
safe,
just
right?
your boyfriend?
There's cameras everywhere.
Right, yeah.
We're all good.
Yeah.
How do we get to your room?
it's just still the intensive care unit.
Oh, okay.
Is flashback better than replay mod? I've heard good things.
I'm still kind of scared, so I'm gonna stay here with you. And Feather.
No way.
I think I saw something.
Yeah?
Oh! Oh!
What do you mean?
The door is open.
Oh.
Stay here.
close.
Stay here, guys.
Stay here. You stay here. Here, I'll stay
No, let's
here.
all stay here. Oh no! Let me in! Let me in! Let me in!
I see you.
I don't want to.
Why are you
Shut
so scared?
I...
Right?
Oh yeah, I forgot Okul's, or that may have been a joke. Alright, where are we now? Fashion show incident report. This is what I've been looking for. Oh, sorry. Keepers of Solace Judicial Branch. I don't even know any of this stuff. Freya, watch the end. Watch the end! Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry.
Right?
Listen.
Coughing was...
You good?
Glitch, don't die, please.
I'm so
Okul, I thought you were supposed to remain hidden, loudly coughing.
Come here.
Babies! There's babies!
Oh my god.
I will take donations.
Is that a bite
Hey.
sound?
Hey. No.
What the?
Why am I more scared bringing
I'm
her
so
here than
scared
having her
right
here?
now! I'm so scared right now!
Why am I more scared bringing her here?
Go through the main entrance.
Alright, let me open the door. Get in there. Heather, what are you seeing? Heather?
Did you see what
Oh.
what happened?
Nothing to
Just
see
because you
here.
can't see us doesn't mean we
We're
can't see
hiding.
you.
That's funny. Oh, my eyes! I'm sorry. Okay, 5 big bonks. Alright, music. Summary. On October 5 at 9:10 p.m., General Okul attempted to assassinate Judge Mira Archer as she left the Frostfire fashion show. Mira only avoided injury due to using her cybernetic arm against the General's sword attack. Once the other attendees arrived at the scene, Okul fled before she could be apprehended. 8 p.m., the Frostfire Kingdom opens its first frosted fashion show within its borders. Over a dozen participants and audience members attended the event. The fashion show officially ends, but attendees continue to congregate and chat with one another. Mira leaves early as lingering symptoms of her salvage mission injury worsen. She heads towards a nearby forest to clear her head. An out-of-place noise draws Mira's attention towards the approaching general. Mira's quick reaction speed allows her to raise her cybernetic arm before Okul's sword can reach her neck. Mira is able to escape back towards the faction boundaries where attendees are beginning to leave. As the crowd draws closer to the attack, Okul chooses to retreat back into the forest before she can be captured. Once attendees were able to see that Mira was physically safe, outside of her damaged cybernetic arm, a search party was sent out to look for Okul. Unfortunately, rain made tracking her impossible, and the party was forced to return with no leads. Mira returned to the hospital in the company of guards to ensure her safety. She will continue to be guarded as long as she remains within the hospital. Once she returns to her home, it is believed that her security system will remain sufficient against further attacks. No visitors may visit the hospital, except under the direct permission of Judge Mira. From this point forward, visitors to the courthouse will undergo further security measures. Any visitors will be required to go through a checkpoint to determine whether or not they are carrying weapons. Anyone who is seen aiding Okul will automatically be identified as a threat. General Okul remains the sole suspect, through the witness reports of both Mira and various attendees. It is highly suspected that Okul was acting alone in her assassination attempt. Due to Okul's and Mira's past history, it is assumed that Okul targeted Mira for personal reasons related to her role as head judge. Damn. The guard being NPC violence? Oh yeah, I need to like when y'all make these incident reports, like Keepers of Solace related stuff, please ping me. I want to know so that I can have Freya, because like I would love Freya to be like reacting to all this stuff. Great opening for the attack on Waters. Focus was on Mira, so Elia had the opening to attack in broad daylight without concern. Very true. Hold on. Guardian Project. GP M1 mobility boots. This is cam stuff. Thrusters on the soles allow the user to effectively skate on air, capable of flight if paired with an upper body stabilizer. Hell yeah! Alright. We have stuff from Seraphine. Lore time. I was walking around on Solace, as one often does when seeking a moment of peace or escape from the world. The quiet of the street allowed my thoughts to wander freely, drifting from one memory to another. The air was cool and the gentle rustling of leaves soothed my nerves, making me feel almost invisible as I moved along the familiar path. But then, out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of someone whose silhouette made my heart skip a beat. Was it Belios? I couldn't be sure. Perhaps it was just my mind playing tricks on me, or maybe a stranger who happened to share similar features. Still, curiosity tugged at me, and as I drew closer, I tried to get a better look without staring outright. As I passed by, I offered a small, hopeful wave in their direction, wanting to appear friendly just in case it truly was him. To my disappointment, they didn't wave back. Instead, their gaze met mine for a brief moment, and I saw something sharp and cold in their eyes, a look of unmistakable disgust. The moment stung, but I forced myself to ignore it, telling myself that it didn't matter. People have bad days after all. I tried to shake it off, turning my attention back to the rhythm of my steps, but just as I began to walk away, I heard them say something. She looks like a clearance bin maid doll possessed by the ghosts of her social life. 3 bows for every person who couldn't stand her melodramatic funeral core fashion sense. Who wears grief like an accessory? Bury the outfit, not your friends. Holy moly. I stormed off, struggling to calm myself down as frustration bubbled beneath the surface. That voice, there was no mistaking it. It belonged to Belios. I was told to give an insult. That's insane. Where did that come from? And the words they spoke echoed in my mind, their meaning twisting and turning, leaving me unsettled. Why did they say that? What were they trying to get at? My thoughts raced, and with each step I felt my body begin to change. My size slowly increased, and an energy surging through me, growing stronger with every heartbeat. I clenched my fists, desperately trying to keep control. The last thing I needed was to lose myself right now. I had to get back to my bakery, my haven, where the comforting scent of freshly baked bread and the warmth of the ovens could ground me. I focused on that thought, forcing my legs to move faster. If I didn't calm down soon, I knew something could happen, something I didn't want, something I might regret. I just needed to make it back home before I lost control entirely. Since Velithari, this is a fun fact, since Velithari are made from dying stars, their bodies are uniquely attuned to energy in ways that most other beings could never comprehend. When they absorb too much energy, whether it's from overwhelming emotions, external sources, or even ambient cosmic fluctuations, their bodies react in a very specific manner. To avoid combusting from the excess power, Velithari instinctively begin to grow in size, their forms expanding to accommodate and safely disperse the surplus energy. This transformation is not merely a superficial change, it comes with a heavy cost. The rapid increase in size feels deeply uncomfortable, almost as if their very essence is being stretched to its limits. Their skin tingles and tightens, and their internal energies swirl chaotically, making it difficult to focus or remain calm. The discomfort can border on pain, and it can take a tremendous amount of willpower for a Velithari to maintain control during these episodes. Unfortunately, this state of forced expansion leaves them vulnerable. The pressure inside of their bodies makes it all too easy for their powers to slip beyond their conscious control, leading to accidental bursts of energy or unintended use of their abilities. For this reason, most Velithari avoid situations that might cause emotional extremes, and they often seek solitude or grounding rituals when they sense their energy beginning to spike. The process is a constant reminder of both their celestial origins and ever-present danger that comes with carrying the power of a dying star within. Put Belios in a Hot Topic and he will shoplift the entire store? That's crazy. What happened to Hi, how are you? Yeah. Ooh, I didn't mean to clip that. We have a video. Hold on. That's what I meant to hit. Hold on. Flash and Ice Train. Where is Lucky? Is that the entity? No way. No, what is this? The red eyes make me think of the monastery. Chains. This was peak. Yeah, what? Lucky, are you okay? Oh my god. We have a visit from Truffle, and then there's just a few more things we're gonna... Man, I might need to do 3 streams a week. because this is 2 hours. It's gonna be about like 2 hours 45 minutes if I were to guess. And this is a chill day. And I read everything from Friday. This would have been a 5-hour stream without Friday. I might have to do lore Tuesday, Friday, and maybe Sunday. Oh man, but when you split it up that much, just people are gonna miss things. But I guess I could post the VODs. We'll see. A visit. Sunday would be a lot because of Faction Meeting. It's very true. I can't really do Saturday though. I could do Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Oh, sorry. This is really right. I'm sorry. Magos POV. Day, decent condition, mood normal. Anomaly spotted, strange behavior from Truffle. Ask, yes. Asking. They denied any useful information. Collect blood samples with their knowledge? Yes. At least it's with their knowledge. Testing blood, issue found. Truffle status, lacking nutrients, cells also heal quickly. Sending samples to the blood room. The blood room? Truffle POV. I've been feeling awful ever since that fight with Balios. Even though Okul had checked me over for any lingering injuries and deemed me fine, she wasn't a professional. I still felt dizzy and overall sick. But work didn't stop for sickness. I was still working at the front desk of the ER like most nights, occasionally checking in on the various patients. It was nearing the end of my shift. I was just cleaning the counters and then I would go home to rest. That's how it should have gone. Magos was staring at me from the hallway for a good while before coming up to me. Apparently, I must have shown my exhaustion in my work, because according to him, I had been acting strange, sloppy with my usual neat work. He kept asking, and I kept denying that anything had happened. I could at least count myself lucky that the light blue-gray scrubs I wore covered the faint scars. He asked to take a blood sample, and I didn't know what else to do but agree. If I disagreed, then he would have known something was up. Knowing the changes that will come soon come, and the fact that Dr. Magos is basically a supercomputer, he could have easily put it together. I could only hope that the blood samples didn't show anything abnormal. However, it seemed my luck had run out. Magos came in a short while later, reporting that I had significant deficiencies in many vital nutrients. That reminds me, significant deficiencies in many vital nutrients. Sorry, that's... Sorry, it's like I am something general. I had significant deficiencies in many vital nutrients. Sorry. My blood ran ice cold when he said that. He could tell by my blood that my cells heal abnormally fast. I quickly thanked him, too quick, and practically ran back to the Joker's corner. At least I could make the excuse that I was late and I was worried about something. It felt abnormally quiet. My heart was still racing. Zilang Su was gone. I was alone. Dr. Magos knew. I needed to be more careful, but if I was right, I would be free. I kneeled near my bed, saying a quick prayer to Divinitas. My sword from long ago still sat propped up on my nightstand. I grabbed it, just as I had hoped. I heard giggling. She appeared. The line connecting us was so faint, but ever present, glimmering with magic from an era of my life I now wish to bury. It would never hurt to try. Well, just what do you think you're I felt frozen for the first few words, but I remembered who it was truly controlled here. The slash rang through the cold night air like bells. With the bond severed, she dissipated like smoke. I was happy the bond was finally severed. I was happy I was finally free. The connotations and responsibility that came with my action terrified me. I thanked Divinitas before I fell into a truly peaceful sleep. Who? What? Where? When? Huh? Who? What? Miss Kathy! Warning, sensitive topics, minor gore. I'm in a dragon phase, so here it is in Kathy's story. The Kingdom of Bloodhounds is the biggest kingdom on land, but Zendaria was the biggest in the sea, and Dagonvilla was the biggest in the sky. But no one knew the one really knew what was in the sky. People said it was a resting place for souls and dragons. Others say it was just clouds, but in between the two, not fully land, but both sea and air, was the birthing place of Kathy, a siren hybrid that had wings of a dragon, a mere side effect due to her father being a dragon shifter, or what they call a dragon priest. Her mother was a siren as well, a lovely woman named Cinda, her father a gruff man named Damon. This land on the horizon is known as Vimala, a resting place for dragons to share their stories and sirens to make songs of them. Kathy had met many dragons, especially in this era, around 200 years before Belios' birth. A large dragon known as Fafnir was Kathy's favorite. Fafnir was a large dragon, standing over 400 feet and having a wingspan of over 700 feet. His body was normal for a dragon, with large spinal spikes and scales, but as the black scales got close to his face, they changed from black to gray and then to white, and then his face looked like a massive porcelain mask. That's how all dragons looked, dragon bodies with human-like faces. Fafnir had watched Kathy grow up when she reached the age of 10 and the island was raided, and Kathy was taken all of the other women, chained and thrown in cages. Fafnir wasn't there, no, but he heard. He heard the men say terrible things. He heard the screams as women were slaughtered if they didn't work. I feel like that needs to be a big content warning. A month went by before he could do anything, because he was going to make hell rain down. Fafnir landed, yeah. I need to make the lore helpers start kind of like skimming through these things to make sure this stuff is good, because that's crazy. Fafnir landed in the land of Zinva, a savage area, and he made a proposal that if the women were to be set free or many would suffer. The leader said no, a mistake for him, as Fafnir roared into the sky and hundreds of dragons of many colors flew down from the clouds, raining fire and frost and abilities of elements not known to humans. Kathy was in a cage. She was battered and broken. Her wings had been sliced off, but seeing what she called her grandfather, protecting not only her but hundreds of other girls and women, she felt safe. She felt closer to home. Yeah, this definitely needed to have a content warning, but you know, we're past that now. It took only minutes for every last man to die, and a smaller dragon went around unlocking cages. Other dragons were putting women on their backs and taking them off to the sky. Fafnir took Kathy to the lands and the skies, but only helped drop off other girls. Then he took her to his own home. On the land near the Bloodhound Kingdom, a cave in a mountain that used to be a large mineshaft. It was large and deep. That's where he taught Kathy about plants and gems, distinguishing between those with harmful abilities and those with healing ones, how to read and how to have fun. But that only lasted for so long. Fafnir was already an old dragon. He had raised Kathy for 90 years, and now it was close to his end. Kathy stayed with him, never leaving his side. And even as he was nearing death, he still taught Kathy how to bake and cook and garden, and important things that she'd need to learn before being on her own. Fafnir, Salto, 59, 1290. Fafnir gave Kathy one of his scales before he passed, and as he took his last breath, his body decayed quickly, leaving nothing but the scale given to Kathy. Kathy left the mine shaft and went to the Bloodhound Kingdom. At first, she wasn't allowed in, but when a war broke out outside the gates, Kathy helped heal the wounded. The king at the time, King Vamus, allowed her in with the condition that she would heal all the wounded in wars. And she did. Was even given a nice little cottage near the castle. That's where she made her new life, healing the wounded and baking. She shared her stories with the other citizens, and about 20 years after she moved into the kingdom, she heard the final dragon roar, signaling that the age of the dragons was over. Now, 80 years later, King Zenthos had a son, Belios, but Kathy never met him, just continued on. Then, a few months after the boy turned 18, the Kingdom of Wolves and the Kingdom of Bloodhounds merged, and with that, Kathy made a garden so that she could have plants needed to heal wounded soldiers. It wasn't long before she also became the head of the medical team. Then, a year later, she woke to nothing. It was a late night for her, so she slept in tents and at the medic hut. Normally, there would be yelling for medicine or someone coming in with... She got out of the hut and noticed flying things and people wearing unknown gear, guiding people into large houses with wings. She ran home and grabbed her cats and came back. She got on one heading to Solace, and soon a royal man wearing a fox mask also boarded and was assigned a room with her. I guess the pilots of the flying house thought the old lady needed help. Is this after the Great Anomaly? It wasn't long before the ships took off and everyone settled into space life, but it only lasted months as the toll of being in space impacted her health and made it decline drastically, leading to her to die with Belios beside her bed. Alright, well I was wrong about Miss Kathy. She is not secretly evil. This is from Frog, meeting someone new. Thanks to Glitch for giving me the opportunity to write this. Okay. Oh, I feel like maybe this is what I know what this is. I don't know. After spotting Okul at the hospital, Violence called for a doctor and security to come help them. By the time they came, Okul was nowhere to be seen. Shortly after, Violence left the hospital. Frog walked towards the front doors before pausing, thinking to herself. Just a gentle reminder, if you guys think something is violent, please ask a lore helper for any recommendations. Yes, exactly. If you're unsure about something, send it to a lore helper. That's what they're there for. She seemed very worried, almost too afraid to leave. I know Feather and Mira are safe inside, but what about outside? She quietly mumbled as she looked at the hospital doors. With enough encouragement, she opened the door and left the hospital. Frog's eyes were darting everywhere as she took short steps out into the street, walking down the street from the hospital towards the community center. But something caused her to pause. Someone she hadn't seen before was sitting on a bench. They seemed strangely tall, even when sitting. Something stranger still, they wore a large winter jacket, even though it wasn't that cold outside. Sure. Oh, no. I know who this is. Sure, there was a light fall breeze in the wind, but it wasn't that cold, right? Not to mention the mask they wore, which covered everything except one eye that stared right at her with an odd sense of calm emotion behind it. Frog immediately took a few shuffled steps away, though something warm was still in her heart, wanting to say hi in her normal cheerful self, yet she felt too scared, so she spoke quietly. Hello? Are you all right? She perked up a bit before backing away a smidge more upon seeing the person stand to their full height. Her eyes widened as she remembered the prior faction meeting. This was the mysterious person who was talked about. Frog, still weary, felt an odd sensation in her heart. The person walked closer to the spooked individual, speaking with a calm yet charming tone. Hello, stranger. Pleasure to meet you. My name is Okena. While talking, he bent over at the waist and extended a hand to shake hers. Frog was hesitant, but shook his hand, a smile coming across her face. The little sprout on her frog skin seems to correct its fearful wilting state. I'm Frog. Her words were short, but she couldn't find any more words to say. Okena shook her hand firmly. It was odd to feel so scared, in general, while also feeling oddly calm with his presence. Well, what are you doing out here? Her head tilted slightly. Okena spoke again, his voice weirdly smooth. I'm here looking for an old friend of mine. I heard she came to this planet just some time ago. Frog seemed confused, but spoke again. Who is this friend of yours? I might have met them? She liked helping people. Her fear washed away at the idea of helping someone. Many come from different planets to Solace, so there are a lot of people here. She smiled at him. Even with the mask, Frog could see Okena smile with the way his eye moved. My dear friend Okul. There was no negative emotion behind it, just oddly cheerful. Frog froze, her eyes widening slightly again. Yeah, I know her. Why would you be looking for her? Her hands felt cold, her face felt warm, and stress was possibly getting to her. I just saw her a few minutes ago. Okena cut Frog off before she could say more. You saw her! Oh, wonderful! I just wanted to see my dear friend one last time. His smile seemed to be a little too happy about this information. Dude, the Okena just slowly gaining on Okul and, like, being so just, like, I just need to see my dear friend. It's so just ominous. His smile seemed a little too happy about this information. Glad to hear I'm getting closer to finding her. He paused. You wouldn't happen to know where I can find Okul exactly, would you? He questioned. Frog hesitated a bit, of course knowing some information, but not a lot. Okul is the leader of the House of Ocular Enlightenment. Maybe you could check out the HOE faction area? It's a while away behind the Statue of Remembrance. She pointed at the huge statue. She seemed unsure of what she was saying. But I heard that Okul is, hiding, so she might not be there. But I do know she's somewhere here, still, I think. She glanced around at the trees and bushes that provided perfect cover for a huge sword-wielding spying warden. So maybe look around here first before going there? Okena seemed rather happy with the more information Frog gave. Thank you, little... He paused with a questioning gaze. Frog. He raised a hand to pat Frog's head once before turning to walk away. Bye now. Frog watched as he left, hands clutching the edges of her frog skin as she was left alone again. Bye-bye, Okena. She mumbled his name, feeling awkward and uneasy again, slowly walking away from the area to the docks to retrieve her boat, heading towards the safety of her hidden home. She didn't know if Okul knew where she lived, but she did know that Sunny knew. She only hoped Sunny liked her enough not to tell Okul that information. Okena scares me so bad. Okena scares me so bad. So bad. We have a video.
Micah used to say, animals don't got no souls, just instinct. Nothing more. But I remember one winter, cold enough to make a man forget his own name. I was hunting. Food was scarce. Nerves even worse. I came across this buck, tall, still, staring straight at me through the trees.
Kinda scary,
I
that's
raised
why.
my rifle, aimed clean, but he didn't move. Just stood there, staring right through me. Like he knew I was hungry, like he knew I was tired. He'd seen it all before. I swear, in that moment, it felt like he was weighing me, not judging, just understanding. I lowered the rifle, walked away, empty-handed. Dutch was furious, said I was soft, said the cold was getting to me. Maybe it was. But that deer, he saw something in me I didn't know was there. And sometimes, I think he still does.
What is that ending? I wonder who Feather's talking to. Feather's got crazy lore. That image at the end killed me, though. Birthday! Birthday! Date 10/7/2488. Oh no. The sound of footsteps resounded through the hall, echoing against the white walls and down the main stairs. A small figure stopped at the top of the stairs, mid-length black hair with golden eyes that shone with the little bit of light that clashed against them. The child barely fit in her oversized academy uniform and carried a backpack that was almost the same size as her torso. She inhaled a breath before using the handrail to walk down the stairs, walking slowly before reaching the bottom of the stairs. The child was smiling to herself, walking to the kitchen with a pep to her step. Her parents were sitting at the table, 4 sets of plates resting on each seat. The young girl placed her bag on the floor and sat at her chair across from her mother. She stayed silent as her parents talked, observing her mother place pancakes onto the plate. Her father was looking at his tablet like always, cup of coffee in his hand as he reviewed something. She waited for something more, or for anything, until her mother placed the pancakes in front of her. You did your homework? Mira turned to look at her mother, who was running her hands through her hair. The child nodded softly as her mother moved on to braid her hair. Stop coddling her hair, Luna. The child's father glanced, his eyes inspecting the scene before glancing back at his tablet. Luna tied the braid and then kissed the top of the child's head. Don't worry, I'll make sure you get your favorite cake today, the woman said, cheering up Mira enough to erase the small crease on her eyebrows. Mira ate the pancakes with a smile, asking for extra strawberries. Her father glanced over, meeting her eyes before he glanced back at his food. Mira waited more, looking at her father before he got up, seemingly not acknowledging what day it was. Luna glanced at the man who was placing his plate in the sink. Janus, isn't today important? Luna said as she stared at the man, both of their eyes meeting as the man glanced at the calendar. Mira looked expectantly at her father, big eyes staring at the man. Janus glanced at the red circle of the calendar before smacking his forehead. Oh! Today is Spica's inauguration. Janus smiled, thanking Luna for the catch, yet Mira's eyes remained downcast. Come on, Mira, let's get your sister a gift. Janus looked over and saw the child sitting down with a downcast expression to her face. His eyes inspected the child before he waved his hand. Actually, you have school. Make sure that you make it on time, the man said with a smile before leaving the house, the door closing with a deafening click. The child sitting on the chair looked small, her eyes lined with unshed tears before she shook her head and clumsily wiped them away. Luna watched the child, eyes softening before walking to the child. Want to stay home instead? Dad got you watermelons yesterday, the woman said as she picked up the plates to wash. The child didn't look up, staring at the half-eaten strawberry on her plate. Luna glanced back at the table, eyes softening and not knowing what to say. They both remained in silence until Luna spoke up softly. Your dad doesn't hate you, hon. He's just passionate about Spica. He will still take you to the gallery, okay? The voice was soft, calming the child, who still had tears bordering her eyelids. Mira nodded in silence. She knew her mom was lying. She knew that her dad loved her sister more than he would Mira, but she knew that being mad would hurt them. I'm sorry. Her voice came as a whisper, barely audible and not acknowledged as her mother continued preparing more pancakes for Spica. Do y'all like grapes? This you? Stop Stop downloading the image. I'm trying to open a new tab, whatever. Okay. This is from Cairo. The dripstone incident, September 30. Prototype was catching axolotls and some dripstone above them fell and it stabbed them through their torso, through their organic heart. The aftermath, October 7. I've been working on finding metal scraps and iron recently. I've detached prototype from their body so they can move around while I work on fixing their body. The heart is unusable now, so I have to find a new one. I'll probably go to that hospital near the community center. There's got to be at least one spare heart, right? Anyways, I'm probably going to finish the new body in like 4 months. I'm surprised I could read all that. There's a reason Mira is glad the captain actually talks to her. Oh. Oh. That hurts my heart. She finally has like a good father figure. I'm so happy. Yo! First light. What is this? This is Comet and... Oh, is that King? Oh, this is so sad. Here's the next 3 or 2 days. Well, maybe you can see it like this. Nope, still too big, whatever. Day 3, I can't remember Alfie's face anymore. They had green eyes, right? Oh no, it was brown. I'm not sure anymore. Day 4, I swear the folks that arrive here only get stranger each year. Long as they leave me out of their situations, I'm tired of losing people. Day 5, finished the watchtower. Just needed to move my stuff in and it's done. Interesting. If I had a wish, I would have a round of drinks with my boys. This is so sad. Feather lore. This is me for real. Alright, well, it's about 2 hours. This wasn't that bad. I probably don't need to do a 3rd stream per week, but I might eventually. I try to hover right around 2,000. We're at about 1,800 or 1,880 members right now. So I might do some more marketing to get a few more. If any of you have friends, invite them. Because like 2,000 is really the cap before it gets too much. If I could start actually like, I mean, this is, I don't need people to subscribe or like spend money or whatever, but if I could get more people, like Patreon subscribing, whatever, then I could probably just do this full time and, you know, probably have like more events and, you know, all sorts of stuff, but, I need a job. But yeah, do invite people, because, I might just cap it at some point. Virgil's here. Hi, Virgil. Yeah, we just need, like, I just need to make another video of me saying, like, hey, here's what the SMP is about, and people always join. But thank you for being here, as always. I always comment on people's TikToks who play Minecraft about the SMP by adding the SMP TikTok. Oh, that's embarrassing. But, no, that's good. I sometimes see people who are like, guys, I really, like, I'm in, like, Minecraft 2-week addiction right now. Like, I need to play some Minecraft. Like, give me some ideas. I almost ping that, like, I'm like, you should join the Smile SMP, but then I don't. Because I feel like, I don't know, I'm intruding. Your brother joined? No way. Is he 13? Oh, your older brother, maybe. Don't you have an older brother? I don't remember. I'm gonna convince all my friends to join the SMP. Do it. Alright, I will see you all on Friday. So, let me tell you, can you see my... No, you can't. Well, you can't see my, my calendar, but Friday's the 10th. And then there's the 14th for next Tuesday. The 17th, come in. Thank you. The 14th is next Tuesday. The 17th is Friday again. I probably will not be streaming that day because the next day I move. So, yeah, it's quickly approaching. Scary stuff, but it's exciting. All right, I'll see you on Friday. Farewell.